home of the best Bucs coverage. We are 95.3 W237CW Pinellas Park, WRUB HD3 Clearwater, and the mighty AM 620 WDAE St. Petersburg, an iHeart radio station.
It's time, man! The stage is set!
Welcome.
Welcome home, baby. I like this kind of party!
Putting the fun in dysfunctional.
Yeah!
Each and every weekday morning, the Pat and Aaron Show.
Is it a little too early for being that loud?
Good morning, Tampa Bay.
And here we go.
Now your hosts, Pat Donovan and Aaron Jacobson.
Good morning, goons. Welcome to the Pat and Aaron Show, 95.3 WDAE and AM 620, coming to you live on a back to Beckles Thursday here on the Pat and Aaron Show. And what a Thursday it's going to be. So much to go over, and obviously the most important news. We got a lot of important news, as a matter of fact, yesterday. Not all of it good, but the good news was not good news. It was great news, as we found out not long. I was very annoyed that we couldn't find out while we were on the air and really celebrate with you guys yesterday morning. But we found out not long after we got off the air that Liam Coen had indeed taken himself out of the running for the Jacksonville Jaguars job and would be signing a new contract, a restructured contract with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and getting himself a nice raise to become one of the highest paid offensive, and by the way, deservingly so, one of the highest paid offensive coordinators in football. Aaron, they stopped just short of doing what I said they should do, which was give him a raise and also make him assistant head coach. But I love everything about this.
Maybe you got into Jason Light's ear too by telling him, hey, all you have to do is go up to Liam Coen and tell him about Balky in Jacksonville.
Do you think I saved the day? Are you saying I saved the day for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Bucs fans?
What I really am getting to is by Liam Coen, and by the way, if you missed it, Trent Baalke has been fired after 4 seasons and with the Jags. And this news came after, not long after, a couple hours after the news came out that Liam Coen had withdrawn from consideration and now being passed up on by Ben Johnson, being passed up on by Liam Coen. I don't think it's hard to connect the dots that all these top coaching candidates passing up on the Jags head coaching job makes it an easy decision to fire your GM if that's part of the reason they're not coming.
I think if this is a week or two, or there's another coaching candidate that comes in and does an interview and then they take themselves out of the running, and if this continues on for a little bit and then Trent Baalke gets fired, I'm like, well, hold on. There's a whole list of things. I think you can almost directly tie it, and I know Ben Johnson said no first, but I think you can almost directly tie it to yesterday and Liam Coen backing out of that opportunity. And you never know. You never know what he said to Shad Khan, because he could have had a conversation with him where he said, hey, I just didn't feel comfortable with Trent and moving forward in that position. You never know what that conversation was like. And frankly, I honestly don't care what that conversation was like, because the most important thing is, screw the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm sorry, Lee Ruiz. I love you.
Lee texted me yesterday. I was just about to say I got to text Lee back. He was venting yesterday. Yeah. He hates Shad Khan.
He does. He texted both of us yesterday. But I think he's got to be excited at least that Shad Khan is out. Now they're in a weird spot in Jacksonville because now they've got an interim general manager, and so they're going to be looking for a general manager and a head coach. So they're in a tough spot right now.
Really bad spot. You should have done this weeks ago.
Well, listen, maybe Shad Khan should listen to this show as well.
Maybe I can just imagine Jags owner Shad Khan after this happened with Liam yesterday being like, wait, nobody likes Baalke?
I mean, he's got to know by now.
Nobody likes him?
He's got to know by now.
I guess nobody likes him. I got to fire him.
I don't even know if it's fair to say nobody likes him. I've never suggested Trent Baalke is just a piece of crap, right? Like, I'm not saying he's a bad guy. What I've said, and I'm not alone, I'm not like cutting edge over here, but what I've said is he's a bad GM, and he's proven that. He proved it in San Francisco, and he's proved it in Jacksonville. And
he chased Jim Harbaugh out of town in San Francisco.
We asked the question, as soon as Doug Peterson was fired, how is Trent Baalke still there? How is it just Doug Peterson? But again, more importantly, Liam Coen is back with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And, when you think about what this means, and you talked about it yesterday, Aaron, poor freaking Baker Mayfield, and I wasn't going to cry for him, right? But the guy's never had an offensive coordinator 2 years in a row. And when you think about the continuity that they built during the season, we talked about it to start the season. We knew this would be a more physical offensive line. And as the year went along, that it probably would become a pretty good offensive line. Well, it didn't. It became significantly better than a pretty good offensive line. I think even for you and I, Aaron, who were very optimistic about the offensive line, and I think a lot of other people who probably were as well, they exceeded expectations. And part of that is Liam Coen. And when I think about year 2, with everybody back, and hopefully Chris Godwin as well, I just think that offensively, oh, by the way, if they do the things we've been talking about them doing on defense, like spend a lot of your assets in the draft and free agency on the defensive side of the football, this offense will average 30 points a game because you're going to set them up with shorter fields. The other team's not going to be on the field all day long if you play more adequate defense, and that just gives Baker and that offense and Liam Coen more opportunities.
Well, they averaged essentially 30 points per game already this year.
They'll average more than that.
And that's year 1 of Liam Coen. So you have to expect, yes, they would have to average more than that. I mean, you think about it. Year 1 for him as offensive coordinator. Of course, there were new pieces to this offense, and the offensive line evolved. And Graham Barton being a rookie center, it was a big addition to this team. Bucky Irving as well in the backfield. Number 3 in all of football in total yards. Number 4 in all of football in points per game. Baker Mayfield had a career year, became the 3rd quarterback ever to throw for 4,500 yards, 40 touchdowns, 70% of his passes completed. That is not a coincidence that you have a up-and-coming offensive coordinator mixing with this unit that is starting to band together, and they just put up insane numbers.
And you mentioned the numbers for Baker Mayfield, and I think the one that you left out was 16 interceptions. And
I did.
But listen, I don't think we should today, because here's the thing. He threw 16 picks. And you know what? With 41 touchdowns, honestly, at the end of the day, I will take that. He has that Brett Favre mentality to an extent, a little bit like Eli Manning, like we've talked about in the past, where he's going to get you sometimes, but he's also going to do some really good things. But also, when you think about what this offense is, and we talked about it to start the year when we learned that Liam Coen was going to do things very differently from a play calling perspective, when it meant was Baker Mayfield was going to go to the line of scrimmage with 2 plays and be able to call the one he thought was better to run against the defense he was looking at. He didn't have that under Dave Canales. So when you think about, and we talked about, remember at the beginning of the year, Aaron, we said Baker Mayfield with more responsibility in the offense is either A, going to prove that it's too much for him, or B, going to prove that he's the guy. And I think he proved the latter. And when you think about,
I know he proved the latter.
You're right. I shouldn't say a thing. He did prove the latter. And I'll say this. Year 2 in an offense to continue the continuity with Liam Coen. Year 2 in an offense that is this complex and does put this much responsibility on the quarterback's shoulders. I think he should probably be better when it comes to turnovers, when it comes to the interceptions, because he's just going to be that much more comfortable for the entirety of the season in the offense.
How about we look at Liam Coen and the continuity for him? I mean, we talk about Baker, and I've been the one hammering that for a while now, for weeks, about how we need the continuity for Baker Mayfield for once in his career. Yep. Liam Cohen's been moving around a lot, too. He was with the Rams as their assistant wide receivers coach in 2018, 2019. Then he moved over to the assistant quarterbacks coach. He leaves in 2001 to become Kentucky's offensive coordinator in college and the quarterbacks coach. Then in 2022, he replaces Kevin O'Connell as the offensive coordinator. Then after one season, he goes back to Lexington, to Kentucky, to serve as the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. Now, familiar places, you're going from back and forth from the Rams to Kentucky. And
it's still odd.
But it's odd, and you're going from the NFL ranks to the college ranks, back and forth, back and forth. That's a lot of change for that guy. And for Liam Coen now to have a little continuity himself, that's got to be something, and I wonder how much that played into his decision. And listen, he's going to be a head coach in this league at some point. This is not somebody who's going to just fade away, have a bad. This is a guy who will be a head coach at some point. The question is, at some point in the future, will it be for the Buccaneers or will it be for another team in the Bucs looking for an OC? On the text line, first text of the day, Trevor Lawrence looks like my girlfriend. It's the first text of the day.
Was that the first one? Where's that one?
The third one. Trevor Lawrence looks like my girlfriend.
Why here's the question though. You read it wrong. It's who? It's Trevor Lawrence looks like my girlfriend? Because there's a bunch of question marks. So it's a question. Also, he sucks, overrated, out of college. Yes, he did come out of college. Also, just a couple texts later, it's the same guy.
Yeah, this guy hates Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, boy. He's calling him girlfriend. Get a haircut, girlfriend.
Oh, man.
At least he's got the exclamation marks this time and not the questions.
He got a haircut. It came in the form of Trent Baalke. That's his haircut. He
could use a real haircut as well. I mean, let's be honest. But
his hair.
I still wouldn't call him girlfriend.
Now, if you're the Jags, you're looking for a new GM, but do you stick with the two guys you've been interviewing? Like, did you really actually want a Robert Saleh to be a coach of your team? Did you want a Patrick Graham to be a coach of your team? Like, they're the two candidates.
Dude, it's Robert Saleh. I'm telling you, there is nothing in the history of Jacksonville Jaguars more Jacksonville Jaguars than ending up with Robert Saleh. And
he is the favorite.
You know exactly what's going to happen.
He's the favorite.
You know exactly what's going to happen. Robert Saleh is going to get hired as the head coach. Whether they hire a GM or promote their interim GM first or not, it doesn't matter. Robert Saleh is going to get the job as the GM of the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're going to start 4-2, 5-2, maybe even like 6-2 this coming season under Robert Saleh. And then they'll finish like 6-11. And then they'll
hell with it.
Yeah. And then they'll finish like 6-11 the next 3 seasons. And then we'll be right back here again with with Shad Khan.
Robert Saleh may look like Mr. Clean, but he's not cleaning up that organization. They're a mess.
And it's funny because, again, I don't think Shad Khan is a bad owner as far as like what he wants and how he's willing to spend. But I do think he has no idea what the hell he's doing until he hires somebody who does. And he does seem like a hands-off guy that if he gets the right guy, he'll allow it to happen. He doesn't seem like Jerry Jones, who's going to stay in the way. He just doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He's got to find a guy who does. To stay away from our backyard, bud.
I just want it to happen so I can get a picture of Shad Khan next to Robert Saleh. The mustache of Shad Khan and the hair, and then the lack of hair and the shiny head of Robert Saleh. That visual is what I need.
Yeah?
Yeah, I need that visual.
I'm telling you. They're going to get off to a good start this year, and people are going to be like, you know what? Robert Saleh, second time, it's going to be a lot like Dan Quinn, second time. Look at what he's doing with the Jaguars. And then right in the tank like they always do.
There was no recovery. Dan Quinn had a recovery period. Robert Saleh had no recovery period. He's still tainted. The ayahuasca has seeped over from Aaron and Rodgers to Saleh's face.
Listen, if you haven't done intelligent things with your finances through your lifetime, Aaron, there's still time for a recovery period there, isn't there?
There is. We've got today's top headlines coming up in just a few minutes here, so don't go anywhere. But before that, start the new year off right with a new financial plan. Call my friends at Trajan Wealth today and make sure you have the game plan for your retirement by calling Trajan Wealth with your free consultation. It starts today with that free initial consultation, 813-550-1000. They've got offices conveniently located right here in Tampa, so you can book that appointment today and either do a face-to-face appointment or a virtual appointment if that's more comfortable for you. And check out their website, TrajanWealth.com. The good people at Trajan Wealth, they're the type of people you would want to work with, and they would love to talk with you about your financial goals today. As they're going to help you develop a plan that gives you peace of mind. So why wait? Once again, those consultations are complimentary. 813-550-1000. It is so natural to be concerned with the uncertainties of retirement planning. So prepare for the future and take that stress off your plate with Trajan Wealth as they make your path to retirement an easy and comfortable one. Trajan Wealth.
Radio for an extra 5% off.
Now, back to the Pat and Aaron Show on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620. Top headlines.
It is time for today's top headlines. By the way, I don't know if this is breaking news, Aaron, but on the Bartow Ford DAE text line, Keith says, do you know why St. John's River flows north? Because Jacksonville sucks. I've never heard that one before. Jacksonville does suck, though. Like, not just the football team, the city is pretty crappy.
I don't like to expose myself because I've been doing it too much.
Why are you exposing yourself?
Well, I don't really get the joke.
So, I don't know a lot about the St. John's River, but it must run around by Jacksonville.
It does something that rivers don't typically do and moves away from Jacksonville, and people are like, because Jacksonville sucks.
Well, I would think towards Jacksonville, right? Because if you suck, you're sucking things towards you. Into you. I would think into you.
Oh. I get it now.
Yeah.
I get it now.
So I don't think that's breaking news. By the way, we didn't get to it because we were talking about Liam Coen in the first segment, but should get to, I said it wasn't always all good news for the Buccaneers yesterday. John Spytek, the new general manager of the Las Vegas Raiders. So Tom Brady did snag one from us. So not great news.
We knew he was going to do it. This is why I'm saying, people, do not trust that guy. Do not trust Tom Brady. He is not your friend right now. He's not your friend.
Casey Warner is our friend.
Like, people get on Gerald McCoy. Oh, Gerald's soft. He's so soft.
Those people are idiots.
Gerald's your friend. Gerald roots for the Bucs.
Gerald's your friend.
Gerald wants to be your friend so badly. He roots for the Bucs. All he wants to do is be embraced by you, and all you're doing is embracing Tom Brady, who has done nothing now but steal from us and get us the Super Bowl.
Gerald McCoy is like the only rich ex-athlete I know that's like, I want to be your friend, and people are like, nah, get out of here. I don't want to hang out with you. It's weird.
It is.
We want to hang out with Casey Warner.
Yeah, I want to hang out with you all too. And I tell you what, I want to hang out on a completed, finished Howard Franklin Bridge. I was on the bridge. Look, hey, I was on the bridge this morning. This is huge. This is monumental to me because if you're like me and you've lived down here only for 3 years, 2021 is when I moved down here, July of 2021. It's just been a complete cluster mess getting on 275 South from Tampa to St. Pete. And I'm just driving, chilling on my way here this morning, cruising about 65. And I'm looking to my right, going southbound, and I see lights on the new extension of the Howard Franklin Bridge. And it looks like it's almost done. And I'm like, hey, it might almost actually be done. And I'm reading up on it. Spring 2025, baby. We're almost there.
So
it's
probably
almost done.
So probably early 2026. I got to be honest.
2029 is what you said?
This article from Fox 13 from December 23rd says that it should open spring 2025.
Yeah, no, I know what it's...
With full project expected to be finished 2026. We're getting there.
Yeah. We'll see. That thing will extend. The FDOT, I got to be honest here, I don't like what they've done with the Howard Franklin, like how they're doing this. I am shocked that I haven't heard or seen more accidents. When you're going southbound,
It's a mess.
it is an absolute mess because they've like winded the bridge.
Yeah.
So you're like,
And people have to pay attention to the lanes. It's crazy.
You
The way
have
people have
to.
to actually look at what they're doing while they're driving.
no, that's not what it is. There's huge like semi trucks that are trying to drive, and typically they'd just be driving a straight line over the bridge, and they're weaving.
Yep.
And naturally, like, I get it. I guess it's a huge haul. The truck is going into the other lanes, so it's just impossible to navigate through it right now. Like, I hate it. It's really, I think it's so dangerous.
Yeah, it's been awful. And like I said, this is my 4th year living here, and that's all I've known since I've lived here.
That's all you'll ever know.
Constant construction on the Howard Franklin, like between the, putting the concrete posts in the water and the big cranes over there. It's just, it's been a mess. So that's almost done. That was really satisfying.
Question of the day for both of you. There are reports that we are very close to, within a year or two, potentially, things I've read, said that we could see drone taxis coming our way, which means, you know what that means? Basically the Jetsons. Drone taxis where we get in a drone and it picks us up. It wouldn't be like a plane. It's not going to go as high as a plane. Picks us up, floats us from one place to the next And the question...
We've been hearing about this for years.
What do we have first? Drone taxis or completed Howard Franklin?
Drone taxis.
I'm telling you, we're right there, man. When I can see lights on the bridge, that's a good sign.
You
that's
imagine, Casey, you would have hated it when we were out at the Gandy building. They were doing the bridge. They were doing the Selman extension. That was, they were doing it directly in front of the station. It was the worst thing ever getting into work in the morning. Right now, car to building, wherever you are in Florida right now, is so essential. Like, it is so cold right now. To be able to find a spot close to the building, wherever you are, you know what I'm talking about. Everyone, I've been looking around, everyone's running from their cars to wherever they're trying to go because they're so damn cold.
Yeah, well, talk to your friend Jed, because he's so macho. He's showing up in a T-shirt still every day.
No, Chris Math is wearing shorts every day.
I'm telling you, I'm in my car last week, right? I've got a hoodie on, a winter hat on, sweatpants, and I'm like, I'm not getting out of my car because I just don't want to get out yet because it's cold.
It's awful.
I look up, and here comes Jed from the Joe Show in, his skin-tight jeans and a tucked-in T-shirt type shirt, like short sleeves. His hair's wet from the shower, and he's strolling up to the building like not cold at all.
No, he is. He's hiding it.
He's a lunatic.
They all hide it. It's fine.
They all hide it. What else are they hiding?
Yeah. Chris Mathis hides it, too. I know he does. He wears shorts every day. I know he's cold. He has to be.
Is he wearing shorts every day?
Just about, yeah.
The hell,
He's got this tough guy attitude right
now. You think
it's
so?
the mustache.
Yeah. He's got this tough guy thing going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
He's
tough
a man
guy.
now.
He's
feeling it. He's like, wow, I'm a man.
Yeah.
feeling something.
That's today's top headlines on the Pat Aaron Show. Chris Mathis is feeling something on the Pat Aaron Show. Well, also on the drive tonight with Tom Krasnicki. But who knows when else? But listen, you might be feeling something in your knee, in your elbow, in your shoulder.
Back.
You might have pain. And that's not what Chris Mathis is feeling. That kid's never felt pain in his life. But we know that many of you have, like me, you're getting older and you've got shoulder issues or back issues. And you can hope that they get better, or you can see the right folks. And when we're talking about the right folks, we're talking about our friends at Florida Orthopedic Institute in partnership with Tampa General Hospital.
Dr. Radney is joining us today. And I'm going to have to give him a call soon. Little things. I was working out yesterday, Pat, just like my wrist. Just like lifting things, I just feel little pain everywhere. I'm going to have, do not play that on me. Do not do it. Thank you. I'm going to have to go see them. Oh, no. He did it. I don't like that, Pat. This is for real. If you're dealing with an injury, you don't have to deal with it anymore. When I broke my finger, you know who I called? Florida Orthopedic Institute in partnership with Tampa General Hospital. So access that world-class orthopedic care right here in Tampa Bay. Call 1-800-FL-ORTHO.
3 WDAE and AM 620.
Pat Aaron, 95.3 WDAE and AM 620. It's a back to Beckles Thursday. Ian Beckles will be with us for the entirety of the 8 o'clock hour. But we're celebrating all morning. And yes, we did lose John Spytek. We'll get more into that in a little bit. But when it comes to yesterday, the big news and the good news, the great news, is that Liam Coen is remaining, I should say, a member of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as their offensive coordinator. Now, the question, and maybe this should be a poll, Mr. Warner, but the question today, although I think we should add a category to this, is who gets the praise for Liam Coen coming back? And Aaron came up with the Jason Light, which obviously is very fair and needs to be included. Jags dysfunction, which is also very fair and needs to be included, or both. But I think we got to give some love, and I did this a little bit on the old social media yesterday, Aaron, but I think we have to give a little love to the Glazers as well, because they were willing to step up and make Liam Coen one of the highest paid offensive coordinators in football. They were willing to step up and do what it took. And by the way, our friend Scott Reynolds from Pewter Report had predicted this to us all season long, right? That they would find a way, one way or another. The Bucs would find a way. And of course, what's going on in Jacksonville played part in that, but that they would find a way to keep Liam Coen here. And that doesn't happen if the Bucs aren't willing to step up and spend more money. So I think we have to give the Glazers some credit too.
I think we do. No doubt about it. The organization they have built here, this is a winning culture, and that starts with Tom Brady, who, by the way, this is an all-connected web. Tom Brady starts everything changing, the culture change. Now we've got Tom Brady stealing John Spytek.
Or should we start with Jason Light?
We always start with Jason Light.
Because Tom Brady's never here, in my opinion, if not for Jason Light.
We always start with Jason Light. I think it was a lot of people involved in that. But now one of the guys who was involved in that is now in Las Vegas with the Raiders with Tom Brady and John Spytek. What else could happen? We've been talking about Max Crosby. Is it time for Jason Light to get on the horn right away with Spytek and go, what do we got to do?
Right.
What do we got to do?
Let's do one of those deals that works out for everybody.
Now, on top of that, what are the chances, and I've heard these rumors as well, what are the chances Tom Brady reaches out to his buddy, who he had a nice connection with, by the name of Chris Godwin, and says, how about you come out here to Vegas?
It makes sense.
The web between these two teams and organizations now has become very interesting moving forward, and how they could scratch our backs, we could scratch their back type of deal.
Let me ask you this, though. If you're John Spytek, you're pretty much starting over when it comes to the Las Vegas Raiders in a lot of ways, which is the only reason you'd consider trading Max Crosby, by the way, because of the slew of draft picks or the kind of draft picks that you're going to get. It's either going to be a bunch of them or it's going to be a couple of really premier picks. Like, it won't be, I imagine it wouldn't be just one if they trade Max Crosby. You might be talking about 2 first-round picks, or at least one and some others, right? Like, it's going to be a haul if they trade Max Crosby. But the reason why you would do that is because you know you're a team that's really far away and needs to make a lot of changes. And my question to you, right, let's take away the relationship stuff and look from just strictly a football standpoint. If you are a team that is really far away and kind of starting over from scratch from a roster standpoint, certainly you're going to be starting over with a new quarterback one way or another. Does Chris Godwin make the most sense for you?
No.
In my opinion,
no.
I would say no as well.
Coming off the injury, absolutely not.
Right?
No way.
You want to get young. Chris Godwin is a guy who makes a ton of sense for a team that is right there, right? Okay, because I don't think he's a guy that you can look at as a long – he's been in the league long enough and he's suffered enough injuries that I don't think he's a guy that you look at as a guy that's going to be there for a long, long time.
It depends on what you do at the quarterback position. That's a huge, huge piece of this. If you're drafting
but there isn't a Tom Brady or an Aaron Rodgers, like who's out there this year?
I'll get there. If you're not drafting a quarterback – if you're drafting a quarterback, then what you just said makes absolute sense. Chris Godwin doesn't make sense for what you're doing to try to build. But there's a very big issue and controversy that's brewing in Minnesota right now. You drafted a guy in J.J. McCarthy to be your star. You got Sam Darnold, who had a career year, excellent year. Do you pay him or do you move forward with McCarthy? Now, 1 year is not going to be enough. If you're the Vikings and you go up to Sam Darnold and go, hey, we're going to give you a lot of money for 1 year, he's going to go, well, no, and his agent won't let him do that. He's like, I just had my career year. There are franchises out there that are going to give me, and someone is going to overpay for Sam Darnold, and Minnesota's not going to do it.
John Spytek and Tom Brady going to do that?
Maybe, because you either have a quarterback or you're screwed. And who do you think's the best free agent quarterback available right now?
It's Sam Darnold, but he's a guy that I'd have a lot of reluctancy hooking my wagon to as the guy.
You don't have a Justin Jefferson, if you're going to.
Do you know you don't have? Honestly, I love Justin Jefferson. He's the best receiver in football, but you don't have? It's Kevin O'Connell. There's a lot of people who know a lot more about football than you or I, right? That really believe that Kevin O'Connell is the reason why Sam Darnold looked the way he did.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have the right coach and the right system around him, can he look like that again? And I think there's a lot of people that aren't sure about that. And I'm not saying he can't. I'm not that guy to be like, no, that guy can't do that again. I don't blah, blah, blah. But you know what? What if he doesn't? What if you're John Spytek and he doesn't? And that's your first big move, is saying Sam Darnold's our guy. He's a cornerstone cornerback. And then he comes in and he looks like Sam Darnold. And then you're in trouble.
You got to take chances.
I just don't know if that's the one you want to take with a big-time investment. I would personally, if there's a quarterback I believe in that's young, that buys you a couple years to figure things out with the roster, you get that veteran guy that you go, this is the guy. People expect results quick, man.
Or you get a veteran for no money who's won a Super Bowl, and his name's Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson and Tom Brady together. That would be interesting. On the text line.
The weird videos that could come out of that.
On the text line, the moment I found out we were keeping Coen, I fell to my knees in a public subline.
Oh, my God. I hope that's true.
If that happened,
that is true so much.
I want video of that. By the way, shout out to Paul.
Paul.
Which Publix was I at yesterday? I have to remember because it was the great Paul sandwich line at Publix. This guy was double fisting. That's where it was. It was by West Shore. Double fisting sandwiches, making them two at the same time.
Oh, wow.
He was just running through it. It was the most efficient assembly line at a Publix deli I've ever witnessed. Shout out to Paul, West Shore, Publix. You are the man. I said it, and I told him, I'm like, Paul, you're on it. You're the guy. You are the guy.
You were like, I'm a radio guy, and I'm going to shout you out on the radio.
No, I didn't. Not at all. You know what I did, though? And he didn't even want the praise. That's what I loved about Paul. And then when I was walking away, you know what I said? He was double fisting sandwiches again for somebody else.
Careful with the way you double fist sandwiches over there on the live stream, for crying out loud.
He was double fisting the sandwiches.
I've never seen anybody do that with a sandwich before.
I don't even know how Paul did this. And then I said to him, and he was so busy making sandwiches, he didn't even want to look up at me. But I was like, Paul.
No, that's not why, I don't think.
I said to him, Paul, and he looked up, and I tipped my cap to him. I gave him a tip of the cap, and I was like, that a boy.
Yeah?
You're incredible. You're the guy.
Did you turn your cap around to tip it, or did you have it?
I turned it around. It was front. I tipped it, and I said, you're the guy. And I walked away into the sunset.
So impressive. The Buccaneers, they're not double fisting sandwiches, but listen, they got their offensive coordinator back, and they're going to be having a lot of... I'm glad it didn't come out of my mouth. I wasn't going to say something intentionally just disgusting, but I almost did. But they're going to have a lot of touchdowns next year with Liam Coen back. And then I almost took your words. And anyways, you don't want to do that with touchdowns either, or sandwiches. Just keep that stuff in the back pocket. All right.
Paul, you're the man.
Liam Coen is back. However, John Spytek is not. We'll continue talking about it on the other side. 888. 95.3 WDAE and AM 620. I really do hope that text about the public subline was true.
If you missed it, somebody fell on their knees once they heard the Liam Coen news. They were at Publix on the subline, and they fell to their knees in excitement and joy.
I hope it happened. I really do. Also on the Bartow Ford DAE text line, a lot of people could have said the same thing about Baker that you're saying about Darnold now, which is that I'd be reluctant to spend a lot of money and make that my first big move if I were a GM, like, for instance, Spytech. So I would say this about Baker Mayfield. People did say exactly the same thing about Baker Mayfield that they're saying about Sam Darnold. And yes, Darnold just had a big year, you could say, but Baker Mayfield had to come here on a 1-year, $4 million deal and prove that he should get a new one by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then he did that. If Minnesota doesn't want to go and give that deal to Sam Darnold, then he hasn't done the same thing that Baker Mayfield did.
Yeah.
He hasn't won that team over and become the guy the way that Baker Mayfield did here. So until he does that, he's not there yet.
A little different situation, very different. Kyle Trask was never set up to be the guy. No matter what we were told, he wasn't the guy. J.J. McCarthy is the guy.
Yeah.
J.J. McCarthy, you don't draft a guy that high. They didn't know Sam Darnold was going to do what he did. McCarthy's the guy.
You know who else is the guy? Our friend Scotty from 98 Rock, of course, goes by Producer X down the hall. We've got broken buttons in here, Scotty. We're going to get your microphone. Can we just kick his microphone on there?
That thing is
we got
so
it.
stupid.
I know. We got to get
good.
that
What's
fixed.
up, fellas?
Hey,
How
man.
are you feeling,
what's
dude?
good? We always invite people to break in
I
and
just bust in.
come hang out with us, and Scotty's like the only one who does it.
Sad Lions fan here today.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's been a rough week for me, but I mean, J.J. McCarthy, I think he is the man. But I mean, if you're Minnesota, you hang on, you keep the hot hand.
Are you a Wolverine? You're a Michigan guy?
I'm a Michigan State guy.
Oh.
So I'm anti J.J. McCarthy.
Okay.
Well, it has been good talking to you this morning, Scott.
It was short-lived in here, fellas.
What's going on down the hall over there?
We were
98 Rock.
Yeah, we were walking around looking for the grossest thing you guys may have ever eaten in your life.
Oh, wow.
Man. Casey, you probably have something really gross.
Is he nasty?
He's a nasty man.
I
We
mean,
love him.
I've drank beers with roaches in them, shots with roaches in them. Does that count?
Yeah, that counts, dude.
Oh, that's right. So,
It counts.
disgusting.
That definitely counts.
like a few months after Casey started working with us, maybe it was 4 or 5 months. I mean, we knew Casey pretty well by this point, but still, I think both of us were a little in awe of this. One night he just sends us this video, and it's him grabbing a shot glass from off the counter or somewhere in his kitchen, and he realizes that there are like a handful of roach larvae, little baby roaches in the shot glass.
And you did it?
So what's he do? He pours alcohol in there and drinks them all.
Protein.
I mean, it's bottom shelf rum anyways. What's the difference? Roach larva, bottom shelf rum. I mean, neither of them are
worms.
good. Neither of them are good for you. Probably got some vitamins from the roaches, you know?
So bad.
Well, I cannot top that.
No, I don't think anyone can.
The grossest thing I ever did was because I ran out of milk, I put Gatorade in my cereal in college.
Gator, okay.
Okay, that's weird.
awful.
That's weird. Was it okay? Was it like fruit?
No.
I think Fruit Loops would be all right in
I
that.
should have just ate them dry.
Yeah.
You should just ate them dry.
No, it
So
wasn't good.
my grandfather,
right.
he was he was old Italian guy, hunter, right? So like he'd put squirrel, all kinds of stuff in the spaghetti sauce. Like if he shot it, it was going in the sauce. You know
If
what
you
I mean?
shot it, we ate it.
Yeah, so he ate all kinds of stuff, and more times than not, when I would eat things that he would tell me to eat, I would enjoy them. So I grew up as a kid, and to this day, I love lobster. Absolutely love lobster. And we're out eating lobster when I was a kid at one point, and you know that I think they call it tamale or whatever, that green stuff in the lobster.
Okay.
Right? He ate it. My grandfather used to eat that stuff and loved it and told me like it was delicious. So one night when we were eating lobster, I tried it, and I can't describe it. It was, for me, to my memory, like the most disgusting thing I've ever eaten.
Most
in my
people
life.
don't eat that part.
Some people might. It's gross.
Pat
It's
does.
absolutely gross.
So are you going to bring that over to 98 Rock?
Yeah, we're going to bring all that over to 98 Rock. Casey and his cockroach shots over there. Disgusting.
Yeah, that's enough for all three of us, really.
That's rock and roll, baby.
So, listen, we're glad you're happy because Lions fans have lost their offensive coordinator in Ben Johnson. They've lost their defensive coordinator in Glenn, who is now going to the Jets as their head coach.
Why are you turning the knife on the guy?
It's been a hard Ben Johnson.
You're twisting it.
Ben Johnson to Chicago was, I think, the worst thing that could have happened this year.
In division, right?
Walk across the street. Come on, man.
Aaron Glenn to the Jets, I just kind of feel bad for him. Anyone that goes to the Jets, you just feel bad for him.
Guy gives up 44 points in a playoff game. You deserve to be on the
come
Jets.
on. That defense was absolutely decimated by injury.
I don't care.
No, that's not
decimated.
fair.
I'm
Aaron's
saying I don't care. Send him on.
All right. Well, thank you.
Send him on, and I'm out.
That's very
He's
rude.
out. Thank you for stopping by, Scotty. Always good to see you, man.
Call him Rude Scotty today. Scotty.
Say hi to Crash and AJ over there for us, please. Home of the Bucs, 98 Rock. We hear Pat and Ronnie Lane doing pre- and post-game during Bucs season. Unfortunately, that's a thing of the past.
It is, but we'll be back sooner than you know. All right? We'll be talking about draft before you know. We'll be at Raymond James Stadium for the draft party before you know. Aaron, when it comes to the Buccaneers,
yes,
888-546-4620 if you want to jump aboard. Do you want to hear a really bad idea?
Not really, but I feel like that's what I'm going to be given right now.
I am going to give Carlos the opportunity to give us a really bad idea. Carlos, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. How you doing?
Well, we're well. How are you?
Depends on what you say.
Great.
All right, we're not going to be as good for long then.
All right, let's put the puzzle together. We're doing so good. So far, so good. All right, you don't want salad out. That's fine. I called last week about it. He's
right.
out. Okay, fine. All right, let's put the puzzle back. Let's bring the old Bucs back together like we used to back in the glory days. How about we bring defensive coordinator Warren Sapp to help out the Bucs? How do you like that?
I don't. He just started his coaching career really in Colorado.
He's coaching defensive line, by the way. He's not even a DC.
Yeah, and I think he did a good job over there in Colorado. I think their defense got better as the season went along with that line. But to just hand him the keys to be the defensive coordinator and run a defense under Todd Bowles, no, not yet. No. Not saying that Warren couldn't turn into that. I'm not saying Warren couldn't turn into that, but right now, absolutely not.
But he's doing with the kids. You know, you're going to bring people to the seats. You're going to fill up the stadium.
Hold on, Carlos. Nobody's showing up to watch Warren Sapp coach.
We have a lot of guys from out of state filling up our seats in the playoff. We don't want that.
And you think that changes if Warren Sapp is a defensive coordinator?
Yeah, because you're going to bring attitude to the game. You need help with the defense.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield, Antoine Winfield Jr., Vita Vea, what Kalijah Cansey's been doing. That's the spark that puts butts in the seats. It's not going to be Warren Sapp on the sideline. That's not going to put anybody in the seats.
You know who's a better defensive coordinator than Warren Sapp, Carlos? Todd Bowles.
Yeah, cool.
Todd Bowles. And thank you for the phone call. I want you to call back, Carlos, but that's a bad idea.
It's why I don't think Deion is going to work in the NFL. What Deion is doing in Colorado, bringing in guys like Warren Sapp. Like, Deion is a motivator. Warren Sapp was probably beating those guys up verbally, also embracing them verbally, motivator. That doesn't, not saying it doesn't completely translate to the NFL level, but not like that at the college level when you're dealing with young men.
If Todd Bowles and company said, you know what, actually, we think that Warren did a really good job at Colorado, and we're going to bring in here to be our defensive line coach. Mm-hmm. I don't shake my head at that. I'm not like, what the hell are you doing? The guy's never. Ian Beckles, by the way, friends with Warren Sapp, right?
Great point.
Like, Warren's not a big fan of us because he blocked us on social media because we had an idea about sending him Christmas presents one year.
Naughty gifts.
But
not Cole.
Ian Beckles is friends with Warren Sapp. Like, they are friends. And we will ask Ian Beckles when he's here. It's a Back to Beckles Thursday. We'll ask him when he's here what he thinks about Warren Sapp as the defensive coordinator, and I'll be shocked if he thinks it's a good idea.
Yeah, he's just, and like I said, I'm not going to always or say forever he's not ready. Guys can evolve and coach and get better. It's too early for him.
Yeah, it is way too early for him. So, all right, Matt in Valrico, we've got like 1 minute to sneak you in. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning, gentlemen. How's it going?
We're well. Aaron, Matt's got something for you to bet on this weekend, I think.
Ooh.
I can't talk disgusting, but the best barbecue of your life. Battle of the Bay tournament right out here in St. Pete between Meadowlawn and Northeast High School. this weekend. It starts 3 o'clock Saturday. It's going to be exciting times, man, for the kids. Going to be some exciting elite athletes out there, some of the best athletes in the high school state of Florida.
Where is it again, Matt? That's the most important thing, is people know where it is and when they can come.
Starts at 3 p.m. on Saturday. It's a 2-day tournament, Saturday, Sunday. It'll be just north of Northeast High School at the Northeast Bandits facility, which is between Northeast High School and Meadowlawn Middle School.
Are there prospects in this game?
Many D1 prospects in this game. As a matter of fact, Pylon is going on in Tampa this weekend, and Bow the Bay is going head-to-head. And there's a lot of teams in both.
Awesome.
They had the 77 Elite was in Dover a couple weeks ago, one of the hugest events in the state of Florida. Just starting out the season, had over 50 teams. Bow the Bay this weekend is going to have around 40 teams.
Nice. All right, Matthew, sounds good. Get out there if you want to watch some incredible high school talent, which, of course, there's a ton around here. That sounds very exciting. But you know what sounds even more exciting?
What's that?
This. Imagine an entire year with no payments on your mortgage, rent, or car loan. That could actually be a reality for you with Suncoast Credit Union's No Payments giveaway. Simply become a member of Suncoast, and you'll automatically be entered to win.
Yeah, this is great. You get to experience all the benefits that Suncoast Credit Union has to offer, like lower rates on loans, free ATMs at Publix and Wawa, and new member perks like BOGO tickets to Mosey. So dream bigger right now and visit suncoast.com /no payments. Once again, and this is great, check this out, suncoast.com /no payments to learn more.
No purchase necessary. It starts on January 20th, 25 and ends June 30th in 2025. And it's open to U.S. residents 18 and older. For official rules, see suncoast.com /NPGR. All right, it's a lot more.
Welcome back to the Pat and Aaron Show. We got a lot of breaking news as far as the Bucs are concerned yesterday. Some good, some bad. Let's start with the good. Liam Coen dropped out of the running for Jaguars head coaching job. So he is going to sign a massive deal as the offensive coordinator to stay here in Tampa Bay. That's the good. The
massive.
bad.
You call it massive.
It's massive.
All right.
You don't think that's massive? You don't think it's massive that Liam Coen is staying here in Tampa Bay? You don't think that's massive?
No, I thought you meant the deal itself was massive.
Oh, well, it's going to be a massive deal.
He's going to be. I mean, listen, he's going to be one of the highest paid offensive coordinators, not the highest paid.
Did I say that?
Well, I don't know. Massive to me suggests
he's going to get a lot of money to be an offensive coordinator in this league.
That's true,
right? So, I would say signing a massive deal to stay in Tampa. Anything more you have to say to debate on that? What's your idea of massive, Pat?
I would if I was going to say massive, I would think it would be the highest paid.
You become one of the highest paid or the highest paid, you're getting a massive deal. Regardless, it's huge news for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
That is massive.
What is bad news for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, let's get back on track here. John Spytek is going to the Raiders as the general manager there. And that is not, now listen, what's the bigger news? What's the better, more important for the Buccaneers? Retaining your offensive coordinator that just led the Bucs to the best offense ever.
I don't think it's close.
But John Spytek has done an amazing job. Jason Light will be the first to tell you the help that he did in orchestrating and conducting and getting this organization on track through Tom Brady, all transitioning into Baker Mayfield, Operation Shoeless Joe Jackson with Tom Brady, as it has been famously dubbed. So, yeah, you've got a lot that you're losing in John Spytek. And now we have to think, what's going to be next as far as getting the help for Jason Light, if he even really needs any extra help from what's in-house.
I'm sure they'll fill the position.
Yeah, but it might be in-house, right? It might be in-house, somebody stepping up and elevating somebody. But what I found interesting when it comes to Liam Coen is, and I saw this from Rick Stroud, that we thought, and you had talked about, make him the highest paid OC, but also make him the assistant coach, the assistant head coach. We didn't see that. And also on top of that, I saw Rick Stroud report that there were no promises made to Liam Coen by the Buccaneers as far as coach in waiting. Now, we saw that with the Patriots, and Rick noted that with Gerard Mayo.
Yep.
We saw how that turned out, 1 year, one and done. But from what we're seeing here and from what Rick Stroud's reporting, he's just going to be a very highly paid offensive coordinator right now, but there has not really been a talk about what his future in the Bucs organization is.
Yeah, which is fine with me. I thought it would be a good idea potentially to try to retain him, to give him a little something extra other than just the money to try to keep him here if you were worried he was going to leave. But I've got no issue with it. Look, I think it's easier to not have that in place, honestly, than to have it in place with a guy. Would I utilize it to try to keep a guy? I absolutely would, and I suggested the Bucs do just that. But probably easier in the room if you don't have that, right?
Yeah.
If you're Todd Bowles, you're always thinking about, like, how long am I going to coach? And obviously that's in your mind anyways. But if you've got a guy that is your successor right behind you, it's got to change that mindset a little bit.
It also would change the attitude, I think, of a Liam Coen, and maybe not for the good. Maybe not for the bad, but...
How? What do you mean not for the good?
It puts
He's not going to push Todd out.
No. It just puts that added pressure on, like, hey, you're the next coach. You got to do something different. You got to show these guys that you're not just an offensive coordinator. Instead of just doing your job, do your job as an offensive coordinator. Don't worry about showing yourself as a future head coach and presenting yourself as what that's going to look like. Present yourself as what you've done right now, and that was a very successful offensive coordinator. And now you can just grow. And if you're a Bucs fan, you got to just look at this as a year-by-year basis, right? Don't look in the future. Don't look at Todd. Everything worked out the way we needed it to work out. I was the first, I said it all along. Do I love Todd Bowles as a head coach? Am I convinced on Todd Bowles as a head coach? No, not yet.
I don't know anybody is when it comes to, like, being the guy and getting it done.
Is he a failure? Absolutely not. But if it was between Liam Coen and Todd Bowles, I was ready to take the leap and go with Liam Coen. Thankfully, Jason Light, the Glazers, the Jaguars being the Jaguars, we got to a point where
Liam Coen.
and
right?
Liam Coen, we got the best case scenario. Todd Bowles gets to just keep doing his thing. Liam Coen can coach this offense, and hopefully, we just have to hope they draft and get the right pieces in free agency for that defense to get that defense back on track. Because there's one thing we do know, Todd Bowles knows how to coach a defense if the pieces are right.
And if you play just better defense, and we said this going into the playoffs, right? How dangerous they'd be if they did that. If they play just better defense, if they play just adequate defense, if they get more than, what do they have, 7 or 8 interceptions all season long, for crying out loud. You make some plays defensively, and it changes everything. It changes everything for the offense and the defense, because as we saw a couple times late in the season, including in the playoffs, I think we saw it in week 17, week 18 as well, like, when you're allowing the team on the other side of the football field to hold the ball for so much of the game, when your defense can't get off the football field, A, it only gives your offense so many opportunities to make plays and put points on the board, but also B, it's harder to stay in rhythm. It's harder to play the kind of offense you want to when A, you're playing catch up, and B, you're not touching the football enough. So if you get a defense that makes a couple plays here and there, actually creates a couple turnovers here and there, God forbid, actually, who knows, creates a short field or two for the Buccaneers, all of a sudden that offense becomes even more dangerous.
And we were talking about Warren Sapp, and somebody brought up earlier him being the defensive coordinator for the Buccaneers. That's not going to happen. You brought up defensive line coach and maybe working with the defensive line, and you'd be up to that. Well, the Bucs might be looking for somebody to help out a coach to be coaching the defensive line. Casey Rogers is interviewing with the Green Bay Packers for that same job. He did so actually. He did so Tuesday. So you could lose Casey Rogers, whose contract is up. So a lot of coaches, a lot of changes going on in the organization. We've seen it in Detroit to a bigger extent. Yeah. We might be seeing it here in Tampa Bay, thankfully not with Liam Coen.
I'm not suggesting that Warren Sapp should be the candidate to replace him if he does in fact leave. My point was, if the Bucs were to bring him in as a defensive line coach, I wouldn't be like, whoa, that's crazy. As Carlos suggested, if they brought him in to be the DC, it would make zero sense at all.
But it's an important piece of the puzzle, because you think about what the Bucs have done, their run game, stopping the run, Casey Rogers being the run game coordinator, that's been this year was really the only saving grace for that defense.
Yeah. No, listen, the run stopping was definitely better, but I hate to say it, I don't think it would be a massive loss.
Well, yeah, because you're not losing Vita Vea and you're not losing Kalijah Kancey.
Yeah, those would be massive losses. 888-546-4620 if you want to jump aboard. Let's get Gene in from Tampa. Gene, good morning.
Hey, the reason why they didn't offer Liam Coen a coaching job is because of the Rooney Rule. Because they gotta interview minorities first, so that would be breaking the rules.
Gene, who are you talking about?
I was trying to Liam Coen.
He dropped out. He dropped out of consideration.
No. The reason why they didn't offer that.
Gene? To answer my first question, who is they? When you say they, are you talking about the Jaguars? Are you talking about the Bucs? I mean,
the Buccaneers.
Remember? No, the reason, Gene, the reason the Bucs didn't offer Liam Coen the head coaching job is because they have a head coach.
No, that's not what I'm saying. In the future, they didn't make him any promises because of the Rooney Rule. You can't put that in contract because of the Rooney Rule.
That's interesting.
That's the reason New England was able to do it, because he was a minority. But you can't promise Liam that he's going to be a hit down the road because of the Rooney Rule.
That's a really good. Honestly, didn't even think about that.
Gene, I thought you were crazy for a second.
No, you're actually a genius.
Yeah,
you're Gene the genius.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that. Hey, thank you for the call, Gene. Good stuff. Wow.
I'm the idiot.
It's no, you know what? The rule is the idiot.
The rule is the idiot.
It's a stupid rule.
A rule. You're an idiot.
You're an idiotic rule.
Hey, I think we should come up with a list today. I'm not a list guy, as you know, but I think we should come up with a list of rules that are idiots.
Good coaches are good coaches, and they're going to get opportunities in this league. Aaron Glenn did a really great job with that Detroit Lions defense. And what happened? He got an opportunity in this league with the Jets. It's not because of a Rooney Rule. It's because he's a good damn coach. And we talk about being equal, right? So you're allowed to offer a guy like Gerard Mayo a head coach and waiting job because he's black, but you can't do it to Liam Coen because he's white.
Do you remember our old friend Will Kane?
Yes.
Who we met on Radio Row? I actually saw a discussion with him and Stephen A. yesterday. And Stephen A. was like not happy about people removing the DEI stuff. And Will Cain was like, wait, but you're the top guy at ESPN.
It's a great
he goes,
point.
You're the top guy at ESPN. Let me ask you, do you think you're there because of DEI? And of course, Stephen A's like, well, no. And he's like,
yeah, you're good. You're good.
There you go.
If you're good, you're good. And that's it. And that's all it should ever be. It's ridiculous. And it's a really good.
Great. I was watching it. I was like, oh, that was brilliant. He got him. He got him so good.
And it's a great. And by the way, Stephen A. is really smart too. And a great point by Gene, because I was with you, Pat. I was looking. I'm thinking, what the heck is he talking about? But he's absolutely right. Like that's got to be. I don't know if that's the reason why. There's probably other factors, but sounds pretty legitimate to me.
Yeah. At first, when he was like in the future, I was like, wait, they didn't do it in the future. Is Gene a time?
Dude,
Hopper?
Gene from the top rope, man. It's good stuff. Really good stuff. All right.
I think a lot of people didn't get what he was saying because even if somebody said, wow, Gene.
Yeah. Time for start, sit, cut. That's coming up on the other side. But think about this as we get into, we're in the new year right now. New year, new you. You got to start the year off right, and you should do it with a new financial plan. Call Trajan Wealth today, and they're going to give you the game plan for your retirement. Call them today. They're going to help you out here. Free consultation. So that number to call, 813-550-1000, or you can check them out online, TrajanWealth.com, as they're going to help you prepare for tomorrow with a retirement plan that's in line with your values and your risk tolerance. And what they're going to do is they're going to meet with you, either a face-to-face appointment, office right near you in Tampa, or a virtual appointment if that's more comfortable for you. But these are the type of people at Trajan Wealth that you would love to work with, and they would love to talk with you about your financial goals today. This is a family-owned and veteran-led business by Jeff Jr., who's been doing it for over 2 decades. So no need to feel that stress anymore when it comes to retirement planning and wealth management. Trajan Wealth, they're going to work closely with you to make sure your path to retirement is an easy and a comfortable one. Whatever questions you have, they're going to answer them for you. 813-550-1000, TrajanWealth.com. dynamic of the defense, especially when we know we've got Antoine Winfield out there in center field. I'm going to go middle linebacker to sit. Need much more speed and coverage. Need to be able to, especially the way the league is now, it's so important. Quarterback, I'm going to cut it. Another need, especially if Jamel Dean is not with his team anymore. So, they're all very, they need a lot from all of them. But I'm going to start edge, sit middle linebacker, cut CB.
I don't know why I'm an old curmudgeon. I hate things like the phrase pick six and also the edge thing. Like, they have positions, and I know they're different depending on the team, but on this team, they're outside linebackers, and I want several of them. I'm starting outside linebacker. I'm sitting outside linebacker. I'm cutting outside linebacker. No, but seriously, start outside linebacker by far and away, or edge, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to sit cornerback, though. I think Jamel Dean is they're probably going to move on from him because of the money, and I think that becomes the next biggest need because of that. I'm going to sit cornerback, and I will cut middle linebacker, although they definitely need someone there as well. Some depth there, if nothing else.
All right, yesterday we got the news that Aaron Glenn, defensive coordinator of the Lions, is heading to New York to be the head coach of the Jets. There are 3 hires that have been made now for new head coaching situations. Start, sit, cut. Mike Vrabel in New England, Ben Johnson in Chicago, Aaron Glenn in New York.
Now, we did the situations before. So are we talking about the coaches themselves,
the coaches
or where they're going?
Who do you think is going to be the best?
I'll start Ben Johnson in Chicago just because I think they're closest to being any good. I'll sit Mike Vrabel in New England because they've got a quarterback, and he's been a head coach in the league before. And I'll cut Aaron Glenn in New York, although not as harshly as Aaron probably will.
Yeah, well, it's as simple as that, except for you're right. At the end, I'll torch him at the end. Well, not him, really, the Jets. The Jets, because they'll torch him and his career and everything he's worth on all his value.
Oh, man.
Ben Johnson, you got to start Ben Johnson. First of all, who he is and what you think he can provide for that offense, and that offense having a number 1 overall pick in Caleb Williams, who I think has got the stuff to be a star. He just needs to have the right coaching and the right people around him, the right offensive line. That's the best situation. I'll start that. I'll sit Vrabel in New England because, like Pat said, out of these 3 teams, 2 of them have a young quarterback, and one of them they have no clue. And I don't know if
he got an old quarterback, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know if May is going to be a great quarterback or even a good quarterback in this league, but Mike Vrabel's not taking that job if he doesn't believe that he can be. And I'm going to believe in Vrabel there. I'm going to sit New England. I'm going to cut the Jets. What a joke of an organization. What a mess of an organization. When you go there, you get stink on you, and you can't avoid it. There's only one human being on this planet that likes the stink. He likes stinky feet. His name is Rex Ryan.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Aaron Rodgers because he likes to go do the ayahuasca and poop and puke on himself.
Who knows what he does, but I know that Rex Ryan seems like the only human on that planet that has been in that job and doesn't want that job. That wants that job. Everyone else doesn't want that job. You saw, even though we heard reports that Belichick was even considering it, which I don't believe, you saw Belichick in the documentary with Bill Parcells. They didn't want to go in the...
There was a report that he reached out to the Jets.
I don't know how much I believe that. They didn't even want to go in the locker room when they were filming the documentary in the Jets locker room. That's how much stink is on the Jets.
The hell with it.
The hell of it.
Yeah. All right. So, conference championship weekend ahead, arguably the funnest weekend in professional football. So, anytime touchdowns. These are all around the same odds. These are all between plus 150, plus 170. Yep. So, start, sit, cut them. James Cook, Jaden Daniels, Xavier Worthy.
I'm going to start James Cook. I just think he has the best opportunity, the way that Bills game, and the way I think that game's going to go, against Kansas City. Either Josh Allen or James Cook's getting in the end zone. So I'll start James Cook. I'm going to sit Xavier Worthy just because of the position. Like, it's for me, when I have a quarterback out there, even though Jaden Daniels certainly can get in like Josh Allen with his legs, and Josh Allen is like almost a clear bet every week to do it, it's still a rookie quarterback. Philadelphia knows who they have to stop in this game.
And any good on the defensive line in Philly?
They're one of the best, and they know they got to stop Jaden Daniels. So I'm going to sit Xavier Worthy, and I'm going to cut Jaden Daniels. But for the Chiefs, You never know who's going to end up in the end zone. It could be anybody.
Yeah, I totally expected you to cut Worthy, but I actually agree with you wholeheartedly. I think James Cook, I said to you yesterday, I think he has a big game in this one. I will definitely start James Cook. I will, just like you, I'll sit Xavier Worthy because he's a wide receiver, and I do think that the way Philadelphia defends and how good they are on the defensive line, I think Jaden Daniels can be very good and mostly through the air, but I don't think he's a guy that's going to run it in for a touchdown.
All right, yesterday, I don't know about you all. I think I know what Pat's going to say, but it was miserable. It was windy. It was rainy.
So was today.
Gross,
yeah,
man.
pretty miserable this morning so far. So
It's not getting above 50 today, Casey.
yeah, it wasn't above 50 yesterday either. So
I think it did a little bit.
We're seeing as much as up to a foot of snow in places like Louisiana and the Panhandle. It's absolutely insane. So start, sit, cut these. A foot of snow, a whole day of below freezing temperatures, or wind and rain all day like there was yesterday.
By the way, Saturday, I saw yesterday was a low of like 33 on Saturday. That's now
Gross.
been elevated to 37, so that's nice.
It's going to start getting warmer next week, which I love.
Yep.
All right, I am going to start a whole day of below freezing temperature. As terrible as that is, at least it's dry. I will sit wind and rain like yesterday all day, and I will cut a foot of snow. And I know Aaron's not going to want to cut a foot of snow, and a lot of people aren't because they live around here and they've never actually dealt with a foot of snow. But for somebody who's been in, listen, I was in my driveway with my wife shoveling far less than a foot of snow, right? But several inches of snow where I looked at her and said, you know what? F it. Let's try Florida.
Yeah.
That's how bad shoveling sucks.
That's the
so,
spirit.
yeah, it sounds like fun to go sledding and play in the snow, but when you're an adult and you got to shovel your driveway and clean the crap off your car, it sucks.
I'm going to start 1 foot of snow. With everything that you just said, I'm going to start 1 foot of snow because
You ever been in a foot of snow
yes,
outside of skiing?
Of course I have.
All right.
Of course I
Like
have.
where you had to deal with all the things I just talked about?
No, I've never done. No, I've held a shovel like a handful of times in my life. Like legit. That's legit. I feel I shouldn't have said that.
Listen, this is the one thing that a lot of our listeners are with you on because they're from Florida. The people from the Northeast and stuff that have been through it, they're like, oh, F you.
Yeah, but the fact that I admitted a shovel, like there are a lot of things you use a shovel for, not just the snow. That I shouldn't admit that. That's fine though. Habitat for Humanity, I did it. I've gotten the shovels in the dirt. Shout out Chris Torello. I
moved a little dirt around.
Yeah, I moved a little dirt around. I love 1 foot of snow because here in Tampa Bay, we're talking about Tampa Bay. It's going to be gone. It's not going to be here that long. So start the 1 foot of snow. We're not going to be after shoveling that long and salting the earth that long. I'm going to sit a whole day of below freezing temps because I'd rather, if it's going to be below freezing temps, I'd rather have the snow with it. That's why I started the snow. And I'm going to cut wind and rain, cold wind and rain.
The worst.
It is the worst element you could ever have to deal with because you're just wet and you're gross and you're miserable. And that's where I stand on that.
Yeah, that was me yesterday. I couldn't stand it, but it makes for great napping weather. So
that's true.
Yeah. So yesterday we also had some fantastic food, some ribs, some stuffed jalapenos. You got to start, sit, and cut these. You have to. I know they were all so good, but if you had to start, sit, and cut, the bacon jalapeno ribs, the peach cobbler ribs, stuffed jalapenos, what are you going?
This is a tough one.
Thank you again, David.
Yeah, I texted him yesterday a video of my cousin eating some of the ribs like in heaven. And my cousin didn't realize I was videoing. He's like, his friend's name is Chief, who makes the best ribs. And at first he goes, "Don't tell Chief." He got it on video.
Chief listening?
I'm going to send it to Chief.
Oh, no.
So I'm going to start the bacon jalapeno ribs. There was something about them. The taste, the bite, everything was perfect. Really close, though. The
Cowboy Candy. That's a name right there.
Cowboy Candy. The peach cobbler ribs, delicious, and they had the peach on them. Fell right off the bone. Really good. Close second. And then I'm going to cut stuffed jalapenos. That's just not my bag.
Yeah. I'm going to start the Cowboy Candy ribs just like you. Those things were phenomenal. I'm actually going to sit the jalapeno poppers with shrimp in them because they were delicious. I'll cut the peach cobbler ribs. I love them. They were delicious, but they were so sweet. You could only eat a couple. It felt like eating a piece of pie or something.
Yeah.
Like it felt like dessert. So you'd eat a couple, and it was like, after that, it'd be too much.
Oh, no.
I could eat 1,000 of those Cowboy Candy ribs, and the same thing with those shrimp stuffed jalapeno poppers. Love the peach ribs, but I will cut them.
That is start, sit, cut. Great job, Casey Warner. On the text line, I believe that's Ryan on the text line. Are you guys going to make a Freaky Five or a Dreamer bet? How about this? Pat, usually I'll have people call in, the first 5 to call in.
Should we do it tomorrow because it's 7:30?
No. Here's what we're going to do.
Beckles coming up.
Yep. So let me do what I'm going to do. Here's what's going to happen here. Everyone go over to YouTube. Go over to 95.3 WDAE, the Pat and Aaron Show at YouTube on YouTube. Go in the comments and you can chat in the chat. I'm reading the chat right now. I see Adam there.
This is dangerous.
The first 5, give me winners. First 5 to give me a bet in the chat. That's going to be the Freaky 5. So go over to 95.3 WDAE on YouTube, not .com, on YouTube, Pat and Aaron Show. And first 5 picks in the chat, that will be the Freaky 5. We'll build it. Do it during the break, and we'll get back on the other side. I'll let you know what that Freaky 5 is, and I'll put it on social media. But before that, around here, I want to let you know, and you already know, there's only one jewelry store that reigns supreme. Above all the ordinary stores stands International Diamond Center, IDC. It's a Florida-based company with international connections that go back for decades. The owner used to be a huge supplier for diamond jewelry stores all over the eastern seaboard. And with IDC, you get access to one of the nation's largest selection of real, rare, and natural precious diamonds, certified by the GIA, the world's most trusted gem lab, and no middlemen markups, no broker fees, no pricing games, just straight up value pricing on every diamond, all shapes, all sizes.
If you're considering a diamond purchase, you must talk to the experts at IDC to let them help show you how to avoid the pitfalls. Their non-commissioned experts are going to show you how diamonds are priced on the world market and teach you the tricks on how you can max out your budget without compromising. They're going to show you multiple diamonds in your size and price range so you can choose the one that makes the most sense for you. Listen, buying a diamond is very risky. It's an endeavor that you want the right help for, and these days you want to make sure that you're educated. So go to IDC. They'll make sure that you know everything you need to know. It's your first and last stop. Trust us. IDC, they are the trusted diamond experts in Tampa, Clearwater, Lakeland, and Sarasota.
All right, I got some. Edward already gave me one of the Freaky 5, so I've got that online. So do that.
car accident, call Pound Law from your cell phone. Morgan & Morgan.
Big day yesterday for the Buccaneers. Some good, some bad. The good, Liam Coen is dropped out of the search for the Jags were searching for a new head coach. He's dropped out of the consideration. He will remain with the Buccaneers. He will get a nice, healthy, I said massive earlier from Pat, and Pat didn't like that.
I'm really sorry, man. I didn't want to make you pissy.
He's going to be, oh, God, that'll do it. That'll do it.
I do.
That'll do it.
Just to jab you a little bit. I love you.
He will be one of the highest paid coordinators in the NFL, according to Adam Schefter. What that contract will look like, no, we don't know yet. But I wonder what was going on behind the scenes and what was said to Liam Coen that convinced him, whether it was the Jags and him not trusting the Jags, or was it Jason Light and the Glazers letting him know something behind the scenes that made him stay?
I think you nailed it earlier when you said that Jason Light probably heard me talking about how bad Trent Baalke is and then relayed that to Liam Coen, and that's I saved the Buccaneers. I saved Liam Coen.
You did.
Being here without question. I want to address something I've seen and heard a couple times since yesterday. Concern that I think some Buccaneer fans have right now. Liam Coen, I think his new contract makes us very safe. And I saw some people wondering yesterday, could the firing of Trent Baalke be about Jacksonville and Shad Khan saying, hey, we've listened to you, Liam Coen. We think you're important enough that we're firing the GM to bring in somebody you're comfortable with, right? And now, they're going to take a second run at Liam Coen. I also saw, we got a text a little bit ago about, what about John Spytek now being in Las Vegas? Could he make a run at Liam Coen? It's by no means set in stone that he couldn't take up a second look at the Jaguars because they made a move just for him.
The contract's not signed yet.
Right? But he does have a new contract in place. Mm-hmm. And for me, I'd be surprised. Doesn't mean it can't happen. I'd be surprised if he negotiated a new deal with the Buccaneers and then went back on that and left for another job.
You burn a serious bridge by doing that.
I don't even know if it would burn a bridge. I just don't think he'd do it.
I think it does, because this isn't something, by the way, that Jason Light just came up with. They've been planning this before they even lost to Washington. This has been in the works as what are we going to do to retain Liam Coen. They know how important Liam Coen is to Baker Mayfield. They know how important he is to this offense. So like we heard from Scott Reynolds from Pewter Report all season long, They weren't letting Liam Coen go anywhere. And I think he was dead on, because that job, whether you think it's attractive or not, it's a head coaching job in the NFL, and they wanted from reports Liam Coen. And from what we heard from Scott Reynolds, he was dead on. The Bucs and Jason Light and the Glazers weren't letting Liam Coen go anywhere, at least not this season. What it means for the future, who knows? But he wasn't going anywhere this season, and nobody's got to be happier today, aside from Bucs fans, than Baker Mayfield, who has dealt with an offensive coordinator.
He's happier than Bucs fans. He's absolutely happier than Bucs fans.
No doubt, because new coordinator every year of this guy's career in the NFL, to be able to have the stability after having his career year, the offense doing what it did, a top 5 offense all around, that for him, he's waking up this morning with a sigh of relief, and he's realizing that he gets some continuity for once in his life.
Yeah, you and I and everybody listening to our voices, we'd get over it. The Bucs would hire another guy, and we'd see what he does, and at the end of the day, we're still watching the Bucs every Sunday next year. It's the same for the most part. We might be frustrated by what we see if things don't go well, but for the most part, the experience for us is going to be very much the same. We're talking about a guy that Baker is working hand in hand with every single day, and it doesn't mean he wouldn't like the next OC, but it's an added extra adjustment that he doesn't have to make over the offseason. It's kind of like we said last year to an extent with the running game, because they were sticking with a very similar scheme when it came to running the football. You weren't figuring out how to do it again. You were putting the finishing touches on it. You were shining that thing before, instead of building it. And it's the same thing as a whole with Baker this year. He's not figuring anything out again. Now it's kind of taking it to the next level.
And for the people that are looking at this and saying, well, the Bucs have to have made an offer to Liam Coen under the table, that when we heard from Gene earlier that said they couldn't actually offer him in writing the head coaching job after in waiting, if you will, because of the Rooney Rule, which is a really good point. But even if you're thinking about behind a backdoor deal of like, hey, you're the guy after Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles is not, it's not the same situation as Bruce Arians, who had dealt with a ton of health issues, was getting up there in age. Todd Bowles is 61 and is, in all accounts, from everything I've seen and from everything we hear, in great shape.
It's also something you can't do behind this, like, unless Todd Bowles is in on it. Because otherwise, if it's like, a lot of people are suggesting that it's like hush hush, like, hey, Liam, when he's done, we're going to move you in. Don't worry about it.
And people think
right?
Todd's in on that.
They can't do that.
And people think Todd's in on that. Which
some people do. Some people, the way I'm reading some of the stuff I'm seeing, it sounds like some people think it's not about Todd Bowles. It's just about Liam and the Bucs. You can't do that.
You're setting up in place a coup. Like, it's already in place.
Well, and some major penalties, I imagine. I don't think you can do that. Like, legally, I don't think you can do that. So let's just say they even try it, right? Jason Light or the Glazers, whoever it is behind closed doors, go, hey, Liam, you're the guy. We got to wait it out a couple years until we move Todd out of here, but you're the guy. And Liam is so loyal to Todd Bowles for giving him that job that he turns around and tells Todd Bowles or tells the media. This thing turns into a scandal. You can't risk that kind of nonsense, right? You're not Dan Snyder. Like, I just don't see it.
Yeah. Now, also, what I don't see is Todd Bowles being like, yeah, a couple years I'm going to walk into the sunset, because there'd be no reason for him to. He's 61. He's still in what you would consider the prime of his head coaching career.
You just never know where guys are. You know, he might look at it like he's never sounded like a guy who's thinking about retirement.
Like Sean McVay.
But you never know.
Yeah, Sean McVay is like half the guy's age, but he's hinted us, given us hints that there's other things for him. No, I've never gotten that from Todd Bowles. Yeah. Never.
But I've had friends of ours that, in different businesses say, hey, I'm almost done. And people who know them might not know that, right? You never know where people are in life. Todd Bowles got plenty of money, got kids, got grand. You just never know what somebody wants. I don't expect Todd Bowles, to me, feels like a football lifer.
Yep.
He feels like a guy that's going to coach until his body says, hey, man, you need a rest.
He's got some Tom Moore in him and an influence, too.
I don't know if anybody has Tom Moore in him, dude. He is a one-of-a-kind human being, man.
There's only one. And on the other side, we're going to time for our injury report, Florida Orthopedic Institute in partnership with Tampa General Hospital. But make sure you start the new year off right and do it with a new financial plan with my friends at Trajan Wealth today. Give them a call. Make sure you have a game plan for your retirement by calling Trajan Wealth today, as they're going to help you out here. And, you think about it, starting a foundation of mutual respect with people like Trajan Wealth and understanding, that's what they're going to do. They're going to dedicate the time needed to listen to your goals and educate you on the options, as they will develop a wealth management plan that reflects your values. So call them at Trajan Wealth today for this free initial consultation, 813-550-1000. Yes, wealth management, retirement planning. Book that appointment today. They've got offices right here in Tampa, 813-550-1000, as they're going to work closely with you to make sure your path to retirement is easy and comfortable. Whatever questions you have, they will have answers for you, as they're going to help you develop that plan that gives you peace of mind. Trajan Wealth. Time now for the Pat and Aaron Show Injury Report, presented by the Florida Orthopedic Institute in partnership with Tampa General Hospital. Playoff time, and we're getting down to the nitty-gritty as we're at the Final Four. Joining us on the hotline, once again joining the show, Dr. Radney is joining us. And Dr. Radney, thanks so much for joining us today. Let's get right into it as we got some big games coming up here. Jalen Hurts, he's dealing with that knee injury for Philadelphia. He injured it in the third quarter of the game last week. He wore a knee brace the rest of the game. Let's start with the knee brace. What does that do if you injure your knee, you put that on? How does that help keep you in the game and keep you playing?
Yeah, hi, good morning. So, a brace initially can help just because it provides a little bit of support and compression. The reality is in football, it's really difficult, especially at that position, and especially when you have a mobile quarterback, to provide a lot of complete support because it wraps around the muscles and the thigh and the leg, and it tries to control the motion, but you still have to allow the knee to bend and rotate somewhat. So it's trying to protect the player a little bit with excess motion.
So when you've got an injury, but you're wearing a brace to protect against some of that movement, is there any danger to doing too much with that injury, with that knee, because you feel the support that is external and not really there internally?
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly a danger. I think the reality is that when he first goes down, the doctors there are able to examine him and try and rule out something very serious. And so if they're thinking it's something maybe like a muscle injury or muscle contusion, like probably what he has, then they give him something like this to try and help protect him somewhat, to let him still play and give him some protection. And as we saw, I mean, he was able to play. He didn't even miss a snap, but certainly he had somewhat limited mobility once he was wearing the brace.
Doctor, when I go play pickup hoops or I'm playing softball, inevitably there's always people that are putting those like compression sleeves on their arms, sometimes on their knees. What do those do other than look really cool?
Yeah, other than looking good. I mean, the bottom line, it can provide some protection. Sometimes it's really almost a reminder to you as the athlete to try and avoid certain activities in certain positions, just to avoid making the injury worse. But certainly it can prevent some extremes depending on how stiff the brace is, and can prevent extreme motion or rotation that could potentially injure it further.
Washington offensive lineman Sam Cosmi, he tore his ACL last week in the Commanders' playoff game. This late in the year, when you're into the playoffs, how much of next season is that going to cost him? And how different is the rehab for a guy like that that's pushing 300 pounds versus a lighter player, a running back or a receiver or somebody like that?
Yeah, I mean, so for someone like this, it's really unfortunate because he's actually hasn't missed a single snap in 2 seasons. And unfortunately, when you tear your ACL and your livelihood is something like football where you need to start, stop, cut, the only way you can really treat that is with surgery. And when you do the surgery, you can have a great surgery, but this is one of those surgeries you really have to rehabilitate it and take the time. And for a sport like football, I mean, we're talking a good 9 to 12 months. Now, for someone like offensive linemen, which really requires much more of a stand-up and push-pull kind of thing as opposed to, sliding and cutting and that kind of stuff, he will have a better outcome once he's healed. So the worst and the toughest positions to come back from this kind of surgery is more the start, stop, cutting, like a running back, defensive lineman, linebacker. But with that kind of weight and that kind of stress, you really got to go through the whole rehab. And sometimes you get partial way through the rehab and you're feeling good. You almost have to protect yourself from yourself, but you really just have to go through a structured process, getting your strength back, your mobility, your flexibility, and your balance, because you really want to minimize your injury risk going forward.
Bills safety Taylor Rapp, he's day-to-day with a hip injury. What type of hip injury are we dealing with here?
It sounds like his injury is a hip pointer, which is a pretty common injury in football where you get basically a direct blow to the top of your pelvis, to the bone, either from a tackle if you hit the ground hard. And he seemed to be laying on the ground when one of the other players ran into him. So fortunately, it doesn't seem like it's anything more serious than that, but he's really just limited by pain. So that recovery can take anywhere from a few weeks to a few months. He didn't play last week. He actually didn't practice yesterday. But it's just a question of when he feels comfortable enough to get back, and hopefully gets back in this weekend.
We've spoken so much about the advancements with ACL injuries, and I think back when you think about hip injuries to the one that ended Bo Jackson's career that many years ago. Would that same injury, in your opinion, Doctor, end a career today, or is the advancement in technology helped out with an injury like that, like it has with ACLs?
Right. So the injury that Taylor Rapp has is nothing anywhere near as serious as those injuries.
Of course.
I think the injury you're talking about with Bo Jackson, unfortunately, that injury can still happen. I think we're able to deal with that better, especially where our diagnosis of something like that is also better, so we can treat it more quickly, but that's a significant injury. I think ACLs in general are very common. You know, we have over 300,000 of those surgeries every day, but the bottom line is in a sport like football, it's not a benign injury when you think that average career is only 3 years. So it can be pretty still difficult to recover from. So again, surgery, I think, works really well for these players in this particular position. Hopefully he's going to make a good recovery, but it's going to take some time.
Mecole Hardman's been on the injury reserve since early December, almost 2 months now after suffering a knee injury in practice. Almost 2 months. What do you expect Hardman's going to look like? Has he had enough time to recover here?
Well, it's interesting because he sustained this injury and then he had some type of cleanup procedure. So it could have been maybe a small meniscus tear, some type of cartilage injury. He was supposed to come back at the end of the season, and then it was prolonged, and he was supposed to come off injury reserve last week. But now he was practicing last week. It looks like he hasn't really progressed well. So they actually decided yesterday that he's not going to be activated from the injury reserve list, so his season's over, actually.
So there's a lot of different knee injuries, and this might be an incredibly stupid question, but I was going to ask it anyways. There are a lot of different knee injuries. It feels like are there more ligaments within the knee area? What is it about the knee in particular that we see so many more? And is it just the weight bearing aspect of the knee more than we see, say, ankles or elbows or most of the other joints in our body?
I mean, that's a great question. I think some of it can be sport dependent too, but there's certainly just a lot of stresses that go through each of the joints, especially in the lower extremity. And in sports like NFL in particular, where you have not just running, but you have a lot of the start and the stop and the cutting. And especially when you realize that the ligament size really doesn't change depending on how big you are. But obviously in these NFL players, especially today, you have tremendous increase in mass, tremendous increase in size, tremendous increase in speed. So the forces going through the knee are just so much greater now. So that's, I think, a big reason why you're seeing so many more of these injuries now than you did in the past.
Well, we really appreciate all the insight, as always, Dr. Radney, and the injury report on the Pat and Aaron Show presented by Tampa General Hospital in partnership with Florida Orthopedic Institute, providing you access to one of the top orthopedic programs in the nation. Schedule an appointment today at floridaortho.com. Dr. Radney, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. Have a great day.
Thanks, Doc.
Love speaking with our doctors every single week. Pat, I've got a freaky 5 in play.
Yeah, you do. You looked disappointed that time when he said great question. You looked like you were angry about that one.
Well, yeah, I'm getting a little annoyed by it.
I mean, listen, I even led that one off by saying I thought it might be a really stupid question.
But that's what I was annoyed with. I think that you set it up for him to feel kind of bad and be like, actually, it's a great question.
Not at all what I was doing. I was concerned it was a dumb question.
Thank you to everyone who gave me their picks on YouTube, on the chat.
How you feeling about this one?
I feel actually pretty good about this one. Yo Boy Taco.
Yo boy.
In the chat, Saquon Barkley, he said over 100 yards and a touchdown. I'm just going to go with anytime touchdown. So here's what it is. Barkley, anytime touchdown. Josh Allen, anytime touchdown. De'Ami Brown, who's been great, anytime touchdown. Eagles, first half covering a 1.5, and the Magic covering 8.5 in basketball. There's your Freaky 5. I'll put that on the internets. I'll put that on social media at Jacobson on air, and you'll have that so we can all follow along and potentially win some money.
What do you think is better odds? Saquon over 100 or the touchdown?
When you say better, like
you can make more money betting that way.
Saquon over 100. His touchdown now, it's like -2 something.
Is 100 the over-under for Saquon?
I think it's higher than that. I think it's 120 something, maybe
really?
130 compared to what Casey had it at 130 yesterday.
Was that did you take that out off of the Hard Rock, Casey, or did you make that up on your own?
I took that off of the Hard Rock. Yesterday it was 130.5.
Wow, that's a big number to bet on, dude.
If you wanted to do Saquon, just as we're out of time here because we got to get to Ian Beckles. Saquon just over 100. Wow, -400. to get minus 400. And for him to get an anytime touchdown, minus 300.
Unbelievable.
That's how much of a beast he's been this year. Pretty incredible. All right, Ian Beckles, he's incredible. He's going to join us on the other side, but first.
Speaking of incredible, our friends at Mazda of Clearwater are incredible. It's why I bought a car there. It's why Aaron leases a car there. And it's why a lot of our listeners who've gone there and purchased cars. And by the way, anybody you look up on Google, look up their Google ratings. It is and it will be the best car buying experience of your life. Don't forget, we're going to be out there on Wednesday. We'll be out there on Wednesday hanging out 6 to 9. Doug Wechter's coming to hang out from 8 to 9. We're going to have a food truck out there, our guy from Wicked Chops. It's going to be a great time. Come hang out with us on Wednesday at Mazda of Clearwater. Right on you.
WDAE St. Petersburg, an iHeart radio station.
So back to Beckles Thursday on the Pat and Aaron Show, 95.3 WDAE and AM 620. Ian Beckles in studio with us for the 8 o'clock hour. We've been celebrating all day, Ian, that the fact, I almost said Aaron, but Ian, but the fact that we have Liam Coen coming back here for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We think it's a big deal. The offense was fantastic this year. Were you surprised that a guy who was supposed to go in for a second interview yesterday ended up instead pulling out of the Jaguars job.
First of all, this morning I woke up and the first thing I heard was this young man talk about double fisting sandwiches.
Yeah.
And then you called him the man and you go, it's awesome. So I didn't know what that whole story was about.
He was making 2 sandwiches with both his hands. Okay. And it was the greatest thing I've ever seen at Publix.
Aaron's easily impressed.
I'm glad because it sounded crazy that I didn't hear the whole story.
He's the greatest sandwich maker ever at Publix. I tipped my cap to him after I said, "Attaboy, Paul. I'm proud of you."
Publix is like a mystical place. It's everything at Publix is fantastic.
Sometimes I've dealt with in my channel side Publix, sandwich makers. They're not really there for the job. They don't really have a passion for it like Paul had at the West Shore.
Aaron
Publix
has gotten
yesterday.
into confrontations with young ladies making his sandwich at Publix.
Confrontations, Aaron. What?
This one girl had
There's only 2 places I get into confrontations: the golf course and at the Publix deli line.
That's it.
That's it. It's happened multiple times.
You don't seem like confrontational type of people.
There I am.
Aaron was so rude to a girl making his sandwich. Listen to this. Aaron was so rude to a girl at Publix making his sandwich that she ended up having to tell him, "Sir, I'm sorry, but just so you know, I'm disabled."
But
Emma did not bring you up like that.
No, hold on. Her disability, she claims, because I told her she was using her hands.
Ian.
She was being very demonstrative with her hands and like being rude. She was being rude to me, and she was doing it on purpose. And then I looked at her and I said, "Why are you doing that with your hands?" And she stopped. She thought about it, and she said, "I actually have a disability." And I said, "What?" And she said, "I speak with my hands." She told me that was her disability, that she speaks with her hands.
Well, handicaps can be rude, so you're wrong.
Well, listen, I don't know, but she was rude to me, and I didn't have a good experience.
So you snapped on her like that?
I did not snap. I just looked at her and I was like, "Why are you? What are you doing?"
You're not a great person.
The guy next to me said that too.
Anyone watching this show on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter is seeing the look of, I would say, disgust on Ian Beckles' face.
No, I stand by it. She was horrible.
Aaron's out for blood now.
Paul was great. I'm out for blood.
He's attacking handicap.
She wasn't handicapped, maybe.
Did you see where she parked?
I did not. I don't know how she could drive with all those hand movements.
Wow.
It's crazy.
I thought you were better than that.
Listen, I'm a new man. I'm back to my roots. Someone's
going to mention this exact conversation to Aaron, and then he's right back to being the biggest P in the world.
I listened to your show, so the P thing, the whole conversation the other day with the weather hurt my head, and I don't even know what to say.
What?
You shouldn't play football in bad weather. Oh, God.
You didn't like it.
I wanted to ask you about that.
You didn't like it. No way you liked playing football in bad weather.
I dare you to look me in my face and say that again. I dare you.
New man, new me.
Ask Tony Mayberry.
You like playing
Me and Tony
in cold
Mayberry
weather?
almost got in a fight a rookie year because he came out in sleeves in Chicago. I go, take them off.
Why?
Nobody liked bad weather more than me. I'm from the frozen tundra.
If you like the weather, why does Tony have to like the bad weather?
Listen, everybody's built different, okay? And I like stuff to be crazy because I acclimate better. Does that make sense to you?
No.
No. That one doesn't make sense to me.
Because I know that if me and you play somewhere, we're playing a sport and it's cold, I know it's going to affect you more than it's going to affect me because I know it is. So
yeah, but that's a mentality. Do you actually like it?
Yes.
You're like psyched for cold weather.
I like pain in a weird way. I like pain in a weird way.
A lot of people do.
If you really think about it.
I'm learning.
I like pain, yeah. Okay, go back to
Even
Liam.
still, you like pain?
I still do in a weird way.
What do you do to get that fix?
I did a 15-day fast.
That's gross.
Pain.
That's pretty painful.
I bet.
So you got to work with your mind a little bit. So when the apocalypse comes around and it hits the fan, I'm okay.
Explain the fast to us. So was it just water? Was it like some people do the like lemon and cayenne pepper drink mix thing, or was it just strictly water? Or how did you do the whole fast? Because I'm fascinated by it, even though I'll never try it. I'm way too soft to do it.
Well, supposedly they say if you do a 72-hour fast every quarter of a year, I guess, it reduces your chance of getting cancer like 60% or something like that.
Really?
Yeah, supposedly.
Wow.
So the fast consists of water for me, tea, and kava. So there really was nothing else. So there's no food in it. There was no sugar in it.
Sounds awful.
You know, there was
So sugar-free tea.
Oh, yeah, no sugar. I don't put sugar.
Then you
in my
didn't
tea.
eat it all.
No.
All right.
Aaron would be the worst human being in the world.
No, he can't do it. He can't do it unless he had to do it, unless he was in a hole or something, or his leg was caught in a rock.
I don't have weight to lose.
No, you would die. You would die. Probably.
I would die.
There's people that do 40-day fasts.
Crazy to me. Let's talk Rooney Rule. Let's talk Rooney Rule, Ian. You ready?
Yeah.
You ready? Are you ready, Aaron?
Ready?
I'm ready.
I'm bold.
Okay.
What do you think of the Rooney Rule? Because I heard, we were talking about this morning, Gene called in, and we were talking about Liam Coen and a backdoor deal to be the next head coach of the Bucs.
Yeah.
And Gene was like, no, they can't do it. Rooney Rule. But they could do it in New England with Gerard Mayo because he's black.
Okay.
What do you think of that? I ask tough questions in this new age.
No, it's cool.
Are you ready?
Ever since last week, I'm still recovering from being called really, really mean things on your text line, by the way.
Who did that?
I took a picture of it and showed people, actually.
I'll block them.
Okay, no, I don't want them blocked.
Okay.
I don't want them blocked. The Rooney Rule, to me, is kind of like the transition and franchise tag. I think they had good intentions with the Rooney Rule. They tried to do something the right way, and it didn't turn out the right way for me, okay? They're using it the wrong way. So you see guys... You're seeing my guy Flores, the whole Giants debacle, where they brought him in just because they had to, and they already told somebody else.
It happens every year.
Well, they already told somebody else they had the job, so that's pretty
sketchy.
It's not sketchy. What it is, it's wrong. Flores had to take. You think you could just walk in? Okay, if you were taking a job with the New York Giants to become their head coach, how much preparation do you think you have to do to walk into that room?
A lot.
A lot. I guarantee it's going to be weeks of preparation.
If you really want that job.
Well, no. If you don't prepare, you won't get, because they're going to ask you questions. They're going to say, what do you think about our safety situation? And if you don't know the safeties, you're done. So he prepared himself like a gentleman he is, and he walked in there with zero chance of getting that job. That's not fair to him.
What do you say to people who say that the reps are good? Even if a guy knows he's not going to get a job, even if he maybe isn't going to take one yet, the reps are good.
Well, that was like Creative Loafing telling us that we got, instead of $30,000, that we got good exposure. Okay, that's about the same as that, okay? Because to me, he's already an established person, okay? And you're demeaning him by going through. He's an NFL head coach, and you're making him go through a system that there's no end to it.
It's so flawed, but you're so right.
It's so flawed.
I agree with you. Like, the intentions are really, really good with a lot of things on this planet.
They meant well.
They meant well, but it's just a disaster on both ends because, like I mentioned with the Gerard Mayo thing, you're allowed to say he's the coach in waiting, but you can't legally say that Liam Cohen's the coach in waiting because of the Rooney Rule. Like, there's just so many flaws to it.
Well, the thing is, I say there's flaws to it, okay? Just like I'm gonna say this about affirmative action from back in the day, okay? I think it's a shame that we need it, okay? And it's a shame we need the Rooney Rule. But affirmative action probably gave a lot of black individuals a chance that they maybe wouldn't have got, and they end up flourishing. I heard Mike Tomlin and even Tony Dungy, I'm not sure was around back then, but they just got the interviews not thinking they would get the job, and they just wowed them. Okay, so there's benefits of it. But once again, I just think it's sad that we even need it, because if you're good enough, you should get the interview. Life's not like that, unfortunately.
You know what? Life isn't usually like this either, but sometimes you get lucky, and life is different than it usually is. And you know what we're talking about right now? Imagine an entire year with no payments on your mortgage, rent, or car loan. The reality could be yours with Suncoast Credit Union's no payments giveaway. Simply become a member of Suncoast, and you'll automatically be entered to win.
Yeah, and experience all the benefits that Suncoast Credit Union has to offer. And think about this: lower rates on loans, free ATMs at Publix and Wawa, and new member perks like BOGO tickets to Mosey. You can't beat this.
So dream bigger and visit suncoast.com/no payments to learn more.
No purchase necessary. Starts January 20th, 2025. It ends 6/30/2025. Open to U.S. residents age 18 and older. For official rules, see suncoast.com/NPGR.
Who does Ian think we're going to see on Super Bowl Sunday? Aaron, 95.3 WDAE and AM 620. Every time Aaron says, like, I'm back, I'm out for blood, he goes right back to being a P.
No.
He cannot help himself.
No. I don't even know if we can talk about this on the air.
Oh, yeah, we can.
You cannot
we don't have to name names.
You can't go up. Like, Pat was asking, I don't even know how to start this. You were saying, like...
Ian said that an acquaintance of ours, when he would get drunk, would sometimes say, I love you, but also would use the N-word a lot with Ian. And I said, did he say, like, you? Now, it doesn't mean it's okay, but I said, like, does he say, like, you're my N, or does he just throw out the word N?
Now, they're both definitely different.
Well, you just said it's not different.
They're way different.
They are way different. But either way, Ian, if Pat's saying either one of them to you.
Can I tell you something? I would be 110% fine if either one of you guys said that to me.
Really?
Absolutely. I have white friends that use it.
Yeah, but like, here's where it's a dangerous thing. If I use it with you,
don't use it though.
Don't use it.
No, I'm saying
because other people.
How many? Can name me another black person on the planet that you're as comfortable with me with?
That
I have a lot, to be honest with you.
Okay, that's fine. But you still don't know to use that word because you have to ask them, because unfortunately I hate to talk like that because this guy calls me racist every time, but unfortunately for Caucasian people, it's up to us whether it's racist or not. So it's not up to you.
I know.
So you can't just use it and go, it's not.
So I don't use it.
So then it's better not to use.
Yeah.
I don't use words for a lot of things that maybe I used early in my life. I cut everything out. Like, it's not even in my vocabulary anymore. I don't use any silly words, period.
Dude,
he barely speaks, actually.
That's
this is where I still am such a wuss, I guess. Even if I dropped it in a loving way, if I dropped an N-word to you with an A at the end,
okay,
I wouldn't sleep for a year.
I don't know if you
couldn't say it. Couldn't come out of my mouth.
I don't think that it's possible in your word.
Couldn't
in
come
your
out
world.
of my mouth.
There's no way.
No.
Just like when people get drunk and they say things, are like, well, it's because I'm drunk. Well, that's because you use it when you're sober. You don't just pull stuff out when you're drunk. That never happens.
I'm the kind of wuss that even when I hear rap songs and I'm singing them, I just pause when the N-word comes and I just go blank.
Yeah, that's a funny one for me, because the unfortunate part for people who are listening to that music, they're the least racist.
They love that music.
But they don't want to say the word that's in music. So I see them. If I saw a white person singing that song, knowing all the words and saying the word, it wouldn't trip me out, but some people might dot your eye.
I've said this before. If you catch me at a red light and I'm listening to Biggie, you may see me mouthing the words, and you better not tell me it's because I'm a racist. We will have a real conversation. I am out for blood like Aaron. I won't pop a cap at anybody. I am soft. I won't even fight you. We'll have a real conversation about how dumb that, like what you saying that is, because I'm just singing along. And to your point, Ian, I can't imagine there's a lot of people listening to Biggie or most hip-hop that is racist.
Well,
I'm not saying nobody.
That's a blanket statement, but
I'm not saying nobody.
Less people listening to Biggie are racist.
I've known growing up, I've met and known a couple of racist people, and they've never been hip-hop fans.
No, absolutely not. They do not. No, understandable.
I feel like it took a step back this segment. I was really taking strides, and now I feel just weak and small again.
Baby steps.
Just so small. I want to get into the war. We were talking about Warren Sapp earlier.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard this. I find it very interesting. Well, somebody called in and said that they think Warren Sapp, the Bucs should consider Warren Sapp as defensive coordinator right now. And Pat and I were like, no, come on now. Now, he's definitely taken strides and done some good things in Colorado, but he's not ready for that.
First of all, he's the assistant defensive line coach at Colorado.
Assistant? Oh, I thought he was just the defensive line coach.
There's another guy there. But Warren did a great job. You could see what he did.
Yeah.
If you told me tomorrow Warren Sapp is the defensive line coach for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I'm like, cool.
That's what I said, yeah.
Warren Sapp, I don't know if he would take the defensive coordinator job. He's not ready. Like, I think I could be, from the knowledge that I know, I think I could be a college offensive line coach. I don't even know if I could be an NFL offensive line coach. I'd have to be college first, learn a little bit more. Then I think because coaching, you could be great at something and not be a great coach. Those are two different things.
Hold on, though. But are you saying if Liam Coen struggles a little bit this upcoming year, we can't call you and be like, Ian, we need you to be OC?
I don't know if I'd be the best person right off rip. If they gave me a lot of money, though, I would try. I would try it and fail, but I'd be okay. I would take the money.
Yeah, you'd be fine with failing at that.
No, it's all good. That's why people like Liam Coen, there's something about Jacksonville that nobody wants to take that job because, Byron Leftwich said no to the job, okay? And think about this. When you become a head coach, from that point on, you could always become a coordinator.
Yeah.
But Byron Leftwich is gone. So he should have took that job. You take that job because Liam Coen is great this year. What if Baker Mayfield hurts himself in week 2 next year, and Trask is our quarterback, and then all of a sudden we're 31st in offense?
I said almost the same thing to him the other day.
He's not going to get any. So it's not
strike when the iron's hot.
It's what have you done for me lately? Like seriously.
Yeah.
So there's so many people are only hot for a little bit. And then they go away. So if I would have took that job.
Do you think Warren Sapp could eventually turn into and evolve and grow into a point? Do you think you know him? Do you think he wants to coach at the higher level, or do you think this is an opportunity he wanted to take? Dion offered to him.
I think he didn't know what he wanted going in. I have talked to him about it. He said, Beck, I didn't think I was going to get this much into those my babies. Like he's really into it.
Yeah. But that's different in the NFL. They're not his babies.
No,
anymore.
Of course. But I think if Warren Sapp is your defensive line coach, it comes with credibility immediately. So whoever your defensive linemen are, watch Warren Sapp and looked up to Warren Sapp. So if I walked into the league and Anthony Munoz was my offensive line coach, it would have carried some weight. So he can get to whatever level as long as he just puts the work in. And I don't know Warren to not put the work in. He's going to do it.
He's one of your favorite offensive linemen ever, isn't he?
Who?
Munoz. You've mentioned him to us more than once.
Well, I got a chance to play with him.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the reason. And when I have my Mount Rushmore of good folks, Anthony Munoz. When I talk about like nobody talks bad about that dude, he's just salt to the earth.
He was so respected,
just unbelievable. But when you meet him, you're like, that's Anthony Munoz, like so soft. And Leroy Selman was like that too. Like Leroy Selman was a beast. You talk to him, I go, what a soft, beautiful man. Like you want to become better, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've been very blessed to meet unbelievable people. Tony Dungy's on that list. Did you get a chance to meet?
How far down the list are Aaron and I, just out of curiosity?
Soft, beautiful men. I'm a soft, beautiful man.
Are we top 100?
Aaron's higher than Pat in the soft, beautiful man list. but you guys are not. You're not top 10.
Soft, beautiful man.
Are we in the top 100?
No, absolutely not.
All right.
No. Did you get a chance to meet Angelo Dundee?
No.
Yes.
Did you get a chance?
I did.
Did you meet him at my house or did you meet him somewhere else?
No, so they had an event for like the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Downtown. I think you were there. I swear I might have ran into you there.
I bet I was there.
It was in like the downtown Tampa area. It was at a hotel.
Yes.
Right? They had some good hors d'oeuvres going on.
Yeah.
I want to say I ran into you there, but I met him there. It was
that
amazing.
night I sat beside Ken Norton.
Yes.
And
that was the same night.
And Freddie Pacheco.
I don't know that I met him.
And Freddie Pacheco was drawing naked girls and then making notes, and he gave me one. He's a big artist now. I should have kept that. It's probably worth some money. But Angelo Dundee, his son hit me up and said he's a big fan of Ron and Ian, and he wants to meet me.
That's cool.
He takes me to Anthony's Coal Fire Pizza for the first time. We talk about it the next day. We get an endorsement. Me and Angelo become friends. He comes over to my house to watch football. I'm watching football upstairs.
I didn't know that. That's
and
cool.
Nobody's watching football. I go, where is everybody? I go outside. He's holding court. He's telling stories. And can I tell you, nobody on the planet has better stories than Angelo Dundee.
Oh, I bet.
How about this one? I'm in Zaire with Ali and Martin Luther King.
Oh, that's enough.
And Malcolm X. And I was like, what? What? And then, I'm in the back alleys with Sinatra and Sammy Davis Jr. And I was like,
what's he doing in the back alley?
They get high.
Doesn't matter. Shenanigans. I'm never telling any stories to Angelo Dundee. My stories sound terrible. Yeah, absolutely. But may he rest in peace.
Yeah.
One of the sweetest men I ever met in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one time I was hanging out with Martin Luther King and Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Like, good God.
Yeah. Well, he made Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Angelo Dundee is the man. He's the best boxing trainer ever, and it's not close. There's nobody is even close to Angelo Dundee. He was with
Muhammad Ali when Muhammad Ali threw out the first pitch at the first game, the inaugural game at Marlins Park, which I was there for that.
Really?
And Angelo was with Muhammad, who at that point could barely actually throw a first pitch. You know what I mean?
Well, do you know that
struggling,
I spoke at Angelo's funeral?
I did not know that.
I spoke at his funeral, and Muhammad Ali was 20 feet in front of me.
No way.
Looking at me, and I've never seen a more blank look in my life.
Yeah.
Like there was nothing there. Now, I was tripping a little bit. I don't really trip in front of people. But looking at Muhammad Ali got me funny. Like, I was a little extra nervous.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was wild.
I think you can't help it. I mean, it's Muhammad Ali.
Muhammad Ali. Like,
it's Muhammad Ali.
I was watching him when I was 6, bro.
There are few guys that I've ever, like Magic Johnson for me.
Sure.
I've told this dumb story a million times. I laid on my living room floor crying when I found out that he got HIV, because at that time it was like, oh, he's going to die next week.
Well,
that's what I thought.
Everybody remembers where they were at that time.
Literally, as a child, I was laying on my living room floor crying. I grew up a Lakers fan, crying my eyes out because Magic's about to die. Like, that's the way it was.
That's the way it was
positioned
back then.
to us, right?
Yeah.
It was absolutely crazy.
Fellas, if there's one thing you go to Kentucky for, you got to see the Muhammad Ali Museum. You got to check it out.
I did not know there was one there.
It's in downtown Louisville.
Makes sense.
It's incredible. The whole city shut down when he passed away. I mean, it was unreal.
I bet.
That is cool. I was going to say I probably won't go to Kentucky, but now maybe I will. Maybe I'll change my mind.
Louisville's a great city. Louisville really is a great city.
I want to go play Valhalla.
Yeah, that too. Don't like the Cardinals, but Louisville's a great city.
Louisville sounds like a great city for sure. All right, we did not get into this weekend's NFL games with Ian Beckles. We're going to do that on the other side. We'll see who he likes when it comes to Super Bowl. But I'll tell you what, who you might like this weekend, you might want to think twice about it, because you might want to use that to make yourself a little money. Listen, there's a platform we just found out about. You actually heard our friend Jim Bob Morris on talking with us about it, and it's pretty awesome. Aaron and I downloaded the app a couple nights ago. We've been looking into it. It is the Wanna Parlay app, and it is where you can get the absolute largest payouts on parlays. We downloaded the Wanna Parlay app on our phones, like I said, a couple nights ago, and it really is so much fun. And here's the thing. You can actually compete against us and other goons to see who can build the best parlay. All you got to do is use the code GOONS. The chat feature there, you're going to be able to talk trash with us and brag. There's a leaderboard for all the picks. And for just $2, you have a shot to take home a huge cash prize. It's a blast and so simple to use. And there are new football, basketball, hockey contests every single week. And the best part is, like we said, it's only $2 to enter a parlay into the contest.
Plus, there's always free-to-play games, too. It makes watching all the sports so much more fun. So download this Wanna Parlay app right now. Click around, check it out, and upload some money, because when you do, use the promo code GOONS for a 100% deposit match for up to $250. So you put in $20, they're going to give you $20 more. Pretty simple. That's a no-brainer right there. Download Wanna Parlay app today. Use the promo code GOONS. Must be 18 or older to play. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER today.
And don't forget, if you use the code GOONS, there are going to be exclusive contests and prizes you can win that nobody else is going to have an opportunity to win. So go download that app today, the Wanna Parlay app today. All right, when we return, who does Ian... Aaron, 95.3 WDAE and AM 620. Oh, the conversations we have during the break. You can't hear them.
Amazing.
You
can't. I love when Pat does that.
That's right.
You can't hear them. What a way to invite the listeners into our lives.
Listen, they're invited into a lot of things. There's some things, especially with Ian, that they can't be invited
Just
into.
so don't tell them.
Canceled.
Like he comes back from breaking and he's like, I know something you don't
That's
know.
Right.
It's true.
It's the worst toying you could do with people.
Oh, I'm sure everybody's just fine. Everybody's just fine. Yes, by the way, for the person on the Bartow Ford DAE text line, the Wanna Parlay app is legal in the state of Florida. All right, Ian Beckles.
Yes, sir.
Who do you like this weekend? Who's heading to Super Bowl 59?
Well, first of all, let's start with like the matchup. Which matchup do you like the best? Do you like the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Buffalo Bills? I mean, think about that. Mahomes and Allen, or do you like Saquon Barkley doing what he's doing for Philadelphia and Jalen Hurts against the rookie Jaden Daniels?
They're both intriguing in different ways. If Jaden Daniels figures out a way to get to the Super Bowl, it's going to be one of the best stories ever. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That just doesn't happen.
But I already think he's the best rookie quarterback I've ever seen.
That's easy. I'm okay with that. Dan Marino was pretty good.
Yeah.
Some good things are happening around Jaden Daniels, but my God, it's hard to watch and just go, whoa. Like that, he's good real early.
Yeah.
And, there's times where you regress a little bit in year two, and I'm just going to tell everybody, Stroud did a little bit. Quarterbacks take a step back at times in year two because when they try to become better football players, they realize what I did was really hard. Okay, so it becomes hard sometimes before it gets easy. But this kid is doing stuff that I've never seen, and he just doesn't know the difference. He doesn't know any better. He doesn't know how hard what he's doing and what he's accomplishing is.
They showed him after the first touchdown last weekend, right? And he's just sitting on the bench.
Yep. Like that's expecting what he's supposed to do.
It's like he has no idea where he is.
Yeah, that's perfect. You see other guys. I've seen guys in the huddle that have big eyes and just the moment's too big for them. I don't think it's too big for him.
No.
And the Kansas City Buffalo, I think it would have been just as good with Lamar in it, but that's must-see TV. Like you don't even have to be a fan of either one of those teams. You can't like both the teams. You're not allowed to. You're not allowed to like Kansas City and Buffalo.
I don't dislike either.
No, I'm fine with that. But if you like both of them, then you're not a true fan. But both of those teams are just they're so different. Okay, Kansas City. People are tired of Kansas City. I hear people that don't even dislike Kansas City like I'm tired of Kansas City. And on the other end of the spectrum is Buffalo. Like if Buffalo gets in, and I talked to huge Buffalo fans, and Monica at the other station is the biggest Buffalo fan I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, she used to be with us. We know Monica.
And then I had this conversation with her, and she was like, "Wow, if Buffalo gets in, there's no way they're going to lose because there's no way you can lose 5." And I go, "They lost 4 in a row.
In a row.
So how can you say that 30 years later they can't lose one when they lost 4 in a row? The odds of losing 4 anything championships in a row is minuscule.
I don't think anybody else has ever done it.
I don't think it's ever going to happen again.
Probably not.
It's probably not. So, I'm cheering for Buffalo. Okay, because if Allen doesn't get him a ring, he's going to be the Charles Barkley. He's going to be the Dan Marino. He doesn't want that.
Wow.
Do you think? I know you want Buffalo. Do you think that they get it done?
If I had to bet my house, okay, I always ask people. They go, "Well, this is." When people talk, I think they're talking betting a lot. Okay. But I would say, what if you had to bet your house, which way you go? If I ask you, if you had to bet your house on Buffalo, Kansas City, which way you go?
Oh, I've already said I'm putting a healthy wager on Buffalo.
If you had to bet your house, you would keep the wager the same?
No, I would bet on Patrick Mahomes.
That's what I'm saying. It's
hard to bet against him, man.
That's why. If you have to bet your house and you bet your house against Patrick Mahomes and you lost, you'd go, why would I do that?
You deserve to lose your house.
You deserve to lose your house. So, if you
thank you, I got it
right.
But you're still putting a bunch of money on Buffalo.
I'm putting, I think, $100 on Buffalo.
I get it though.
It's their time, man.
And if it is their time, God bless. But if Mahomes does it again, that's Mahomes. Every time he does it, he's Brady, bro. You don't bet against Brady.
Some guy in the hallway is like a 22-year-old sales kid who just.
Why you call him some guy?
Oh, John. Well, because he is just, I love him to death, John, but he's just some guy.
Wow.
When it comes, he's not like a handicapper.
Hope he's not listening.
Well, what I'm saying, and he doesn't. He should listen to the show more. He's not a handicapper. He's just a guy who puts a lot of money down. He's just a guy.
Like you.
Just like me. I'm just a guy, exactly. And I was walking in the hallway to get coffee yesterday, and he whispered to me, and he goes, bet of a lifetime. Josh Allen, Super Bowl MVP. Jump on it now. He was dead serious.
That's a good bet, though. I think that's a good.
And I kind of believed him.
If Buffalo gets to the Super Bowl and win, there's no chance anybody else gets it.
That's why, he's just a guy, but he might be my guy for the Super Bowl. I might have to go with that.
But unless James Cook has like a bonkers game and like it's, Allen has a couple picks and James Cook had 3 touchdowns.
Then they'll lose.
Probably right.
Then they'll lose.
I am going to take the Bills this weekend. So obviously I think the Bills are going to make the Super Bowl. And if I think the Bills are going to win the Super Bowl, I'm with you. I'm on the line of thinking Josh Allen gets the Super Bowl MVP.
Bet of a lifetime. Make it.
Bet of a lifetime. He whispers it to me. Bet of a lifetime.
A lifetime.
22-year-old kid. Bet of a lifetime.
You know what happens? When I hear people talking about betting, nothing is more guaranteed miss than a can't miss.
When he told me can't miss bet of a lifetime, I was like, dude, don't even say it to me. And let alone whisper it to me.
Can't misses never hit. Never. They almost never hit. I swear to you. If you say this guy's can't miss, even athletes, it never works.
All year long on our football pick'em, we have had where every single one of us picks one way or the other.
Yep.
It seems like we're wrong.
Yep. I tell people the ball's not round. It bounces funny all the time. So,
very funny.
Like, nobody predicted the Lions to poo-poo themselves like that, did they? There's nothing that indicated that.
Who would be the best quarterback in the league if the ball was round?
Who would be the best quarterback in the league if the ball was round?
Do you have an answer for that? You look like you have a slick answer for that, but no.
Are you allowed to kick it?
That's it, yeah. You can kick it.
They'd bring in the guy from Bundle is Life, homeboy. Football is Life guy. Put him on the commercial saying Bundle is Life.
Mm-hmm.
And you kick it.
Who's got the biggest hands? That's the question.
Is it the question?
Do you think Jaden Daniels continues like this? Like, do you think he takes that step back?
No, you don't. Football doesn't work like that.
So you think he will take that regression?
Well, it doesn't have to, but he's not. He's doing stupid stuff.
Yeah,
early.
I think he's smart. He knows that he doesn't take big hits.
Nope.
He's just a smart quarterback with all the talent in the world. I don't think he takes the regression because Stroud.
I think he could take a step back and still be on his way to being a great quarterback.
It could be, but Stroud's a different type of quarterback. So the look of Stroud regressing, totally different because the tools are different.
Well, I think I think with Daniels, and for me, no quarterback has ever survived and everybody. There's a metamorphosis of quarterbacks to where everybody has to have legs now, and it doesn't even in high school. Okay, your quarterback needs to have legs.
You got to be mobile.
You got to be mobile.
Look at every quarterback that's in this championship game. All of them mobile.
Yeah, it makes sense. If your quarterback can run, I play Madden and NCAA. I pick a team with a mobile quarterback. It just makes everything that much easier.
Jared Goff, that offense was great.
Yeah.
He's not a mobile quarterback.
Yeah, but listen, they've been successful in the past, and you could be a mobile quarterback, but it comes down to this, and me and Jay talked about it on our podcast yesterday. If you can't read a defense, your success will stop.
Absolutely.
Because you just can't run yourself out of problems. Everybody still brings up Tim Tebow's name. Tim Tebow never read a defense one time in his life.
I think, to me, you're 100% right. I think the best example is Lamar Jackson, who early in his career, like most young quarterbacks, really couldn't read a defense, and he got by on athleticism.
Correct.
And now today, guy had 4 interceptions all season long.
I had this discussion with people at the beginning of the year. They were Dallas Cowboy fans, so I really shouldn't even listen to them. He's not a quarterback, though. He can't throw the ball. I'm like, he throws for over 70%. What are you talking about?
Somebody said that about Lamar this year?
But before the season, I'm like, he has 2 MVPs.
He can sling it. He can
sling that thing.
And so
it may not
Jaden.
look like Dan Marino, but it's getting there like Dan Marino.
He can do it. And so could Jaden Daniels, same completion.
Absolutely.
He made a throw off his back foot last week, and Pat, I think we were talking about the same throw earlier in the week.
Yeah.
He just flick of the wrist.
Yeah.
He wasn't even balanced. The mechanics weren't even what they were supposed to be, and it was just perfect.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, he's making these throws that you don't want a lot of young quarterbacks to even make and attempt. And the one thing about Jaden Daniels is when I'm hearing the stories and when I hear everybody telling me somebody's going to be successful out of college, the first thing I look at is their maturity. Okay?
Yeah.
That's the first thing I look at. Johnny Manziel was not mature enough, okay? I don't think Baker Mayfield out of college was mature enough.
That was my concern with Caleb Williams.
He's not mature enough.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody's like, oh, just because he paints his fingers and he's crying in the stands. I'm like, there's a lot of stuff you're putting together now because, when you're in front of beasts, it's hard to inspire.
All right, when we return, it's time to wrap this show up. One more segment to go with our friend Ian Beckles on a Back to Beckles Thursday. But first,
would you like the peace of mind when it comes to your investment portfolio? Of course you would. How about starting with a second opinion right now? Call Trajan Wealth today and schedule a complimentary introductory meeting, and you can learn a lot more. And they're going to tell you at Trajan Wealth about your future and what they can do for you when it comes to retirement planning and wealth management. And it starts with that free consultation today, 813-550-1000, or check them out online. It's easy, TrajanWealth.com. They're going to help you prepare for tomorrow with a retirement plan that's in line with your values and your risk tolerance. And they've got offices right here in Tampa, easy to get to, so you can do a face-to-face appointment or a virtual appointment if that's more comfortable for you. But think about the stress that's on your plate right now, the stress that's on your shoulders, thinking about your retirement, thinking about your future, thinking about your wealth management. You don't have to do that anymore. Trajan Wealth, they're going to look under the hood, and everyone's different and everyone's unique, and that's why they're going to help you prepare for tomorrow with a retirement plan that's in line with your values and your risk tolerance. Trajan Wealth.
and AM 620.
The Blender.
The Blender on the Pat and Aaron Show is brought to you by Mazda of Clearwater. If you're thinking about a new or pre-owned vehicle, the choice is clear. It is Mazda of Clearwater. And when you're not in your Mazda from Mazda of Clearwater, it's the only time that's not a good time. Being in the car is the only time that it's not a good time to enjoy some El Bandito Yankee tequila.
Nice.
If you haven't had it yet, it is so smooth. It is criminal. You can pick it up at Lucan's and most great liquor stores. And again, whether it's margaritas, whether it's shots, El Bandito Yankee tequila is amazing.
Just posted my Freaky 5 parlay at Jacobson on air on Twitter X. It's a winner. It's a winner.
You didn't sound like you thought it was a winner during the break.
A winner.
All right.
Beckles, you betting these days?
Yeah, I bet this year, yeah.
Nice. How'd you do?
Didn't do great during the regular season, been doing good in the playoffs.
I bet you did better than me.
No, probably not. Nope, not good.
I just started to get hot, but the regular season was a disaster.
Yeah, that's pretty much me.
Disaster.
I'm making up a little bit in the playoffs, but that usually ends too, so.
I made it almost all back in last weekend, which is crazy.
Had a good weekend.
But it was you know what I had to do? College basketball to make it back.
College football did good too.
But
I
bet on USF last night. College hoops didn't do well.
No,
they lost.
I won. I put $50 on the Bucs to win the division before the year.
Nice.
And that's the last football bet I've won.
Yikes!
Like I haven't won a bet. I've won a couple hockey bets since the playoffs began, but that's about. I mean, I don't know. I'm just terrible.
Hockey. You did your pod. We'll get to the Blender in just a second, real quick. But you did your podcast with Jay yesterday.
I did Beckles and Retcher. You could always do Beckles and Retcher.
I've heard that before.
In the trenches.
Graphics looked awesome.
Yeah,
it looked great, man.
On YouTube, Ian Beckles' show. In the trenches is actually on there, and come by the Dignitary Cafe and hang out.
Now it's not National Kava Day today, but any specials this week?
There's specials every day at the Dignitary Cafe, and it's just the ambiance is special. So come hang out.
Being around the ponds is special.
Yeah, right? Ian, you get to hang out with Ian Beckles
and the ponds.
He's the best. All right, what do we have, Casey Warner?
First of all, just got to say, it is noteworthy that when I first moved down here to Tampa Bay in July of 2021, just a kid with a dream, my first show that I ever listened to on sports radio down here was Beckles and Retcher. So
that's
so wild.
That was the first show I ever listened to, and I had no idea what WDAE was. I had heard it was a sports station. I turned it on and heard the voice of Ian Beckles. So
for me, it was Ron and Ian for me as a kid. It's weird.
Old.
It's weird how
makes me feel old. It's good.
Young.
It's good.
I remember the exact moment. I was in a gas station. A dude was like head to toe Bucs gear. And I go, hey, what's the sports? I just moved here. What's the sports station? I got to find some sports talk radio. The guy goes, 6:20 a.m. And I go, all right, cool. I get in the car. And you and Ron, was when you guys were on in middays, you guys were talking, or was it 9 to noon, I think, at the time?
We did all the slots.
Yeah.
We did.
Well, you guys were talking Lightning hockey.
Okay.
And I had just moved here from Massachusetts. And a lot of people may not know this, but if the Bruins are bad, you could listen to sports talk radio for a week and not know they had a hockey team.
Sure.
And at the time, the Bruins were bad. So I'm not like used to hearing zero hockey talk. And I get to Florida. Yeah. And I turn on the radio, and you and Ron were talking hockey, and I was like, whoa, this is different.
Yeah, I love hockey. Okay, I grew up watching hockey. I don't watch too much anymore, but I know the sport, and Ron grew to love it, for sure.
All right, so what we have missed today in the Blender, though, is our show poll is finished.
Oh.
So after our poll asking who deserves the most credit for Bucs offensive coordinator Liam Coen returning, the answers are Jaguars dysfunction, 38%, Jason Light, 42%, Todd Bowles, 6%, and the Glazers, 15%.
I think it's about right.
They get no love. The Glazers get no love.
Well, they got more love than Todd Bowles.
All right, that's
I think it's fair to say Jason Light is the main orchestrator behind him coming back.
Yeah. And listen, I just think it's comfort. I just think he was comfortable here, and it was going to take the right job to pull him away from here. And I think he looks at this team as one that can do great things next year if he's here, and I think that's a big part of it too.
I'm not sure if Jason Light even asks the Glazers about decisions. I'm not sure. I don't know.
He's got the green light to give them the big raise.
I don't know how hands-on the Glazers are. I've never heard that before.
But do they not have to approve a big raise for a guy? Several more $1 million, or are they just hands off completely?
Millions of dollars is really a drop in the bucket to these guys. Right. It's really just no money. There's a big basket of money, brother.
Before we let you go, is Tom Brady a thief now that he's taken our assistant general manager?
He's been a thief.
He's an enemy.
He's been a thief.
He's the enemy now.
And other than the few years he was here, he's been a thief and the enemy.
He might be the enemy. Hey, Bucs fans, be careful. You might think he's your friend, but he might just be the enemy.
Yeah, screw you, Tom Brady.
No, don't screw him, but like he won a Super Bowl, but be careful.
That was fucking awesome.
Be
careful.
Make sure you go check out Dignitary Cafe. That's all we have time for today. For our friend Ian Beckles, for Aaron Jacobson, for Casey Warren, the penalty box, I'm Pat Donovan. Thank you to the men and women who serve our country and allow us to be morons for a living. Sorry, Mom. Not the rest of you.
Tomorrow we got to get into Pat the ticket prices on a football. I know it's Football Friday, but the Rays ticket price.